real cheap, like they're cheaper than a lot of.
Let's call the meeting, public part of our meeting to order at 6:03. Sorry. Okay. We have one item to give final action on. Joe, if you take care of that first.
So for item 2.1, it was motioned by trustee Statham and seconded by trustee Paoli, approved by a vote of 4 to 0 with 1 absent, to approve a partial leave of absence for a certificated employee, and no other action was taken in closed session.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any items that need to be moved or removed from tonight's agenda?
I don't believe so. There's one item, if there's not some feedback in the room, that I will suggest that we maybe postpone to another, and that's the core literature selection. We'll see if we would consider that. So.
Okay. All right, so I'll ask for an approval of the agenda, please.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Are there any public comment on non-agenda items?
No, I do not have a comment on mine.
Any? All right, we'll move on to the patriotic exercise.
So we were in charge of the patriotic exercise this month, and we decided we wanted to kind of do sort of pledge to the song "America the Beautiful." If you're familiar with that, so we have a video, and if you know the lyrics and want to sing along, then feel free to. Lyrics will also be on there if you don't know them, and if you don't want to sing along, then it's up to you. Stand. Stand. Oh, beautiful, auspicious skies, forever rays of rain. For purple mountains and majesties, above all mountain plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown on earth with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Okay.
Hope we start the course anytime soon, I
Yeah,
guess.
It won't be recruiting me, that's for sure. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to acknowledgements. I know we have several.
Yeah, we do. So we're going to start off with our general acknowledgements. So the board would like to acknowledge that May is recognized as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Jewish American Heritage Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, National Foster Care Month. Screen-Free TV Week, formerly known as National TV Turnoff Week, was May 4th through the 10th. School Principals Day was on May 1st. School Lunch Hero Day was also May 1st. National Teacher Appreciation Week was May 4th through the 8th. Classified School Employee Week is May 17th through the 23rd. And Memorial Day is on May 25th this year. Donation acknowledgements. The board would like to also acknowledge the donations. We had $200 was received from Dunlap Roofing to support the middle school Fill the Base fundraiser to support the softball program. A $500 donation received from North Coast Plumbing to also support the Fill the Base fundraiser. $810 donations were received from several anonymous donors in that same fundraiser. $200 donation received from the Fort Bragg Middle School Parents Club to support the Fort Bragg Middle School Student Council Award Luncheon, and 10 game tickets were donated by the Athletics MLB Team Organization for students to attend a baseball game on April 30th.
I assume that's 810 from several donations, not
Yes.
several donations of $810.
Right.
Okay.
Several donors totaling $810. And then also, I don't know, Kathy, if you want to read out the board proclamation or signature.
Vice President.
All right, staff appreciation proclamation of the Board of Trustees of the Fort Bragg Unified School District. Whereas all staff members in the district are devoted and dedicated to delivering exceptional, engaging, equitable, and collaborative learning opportunities for all students. Whereas our teachers and school employees serve in partnership with parents and other members of their school community to ensure the appropriate education, safety, and well-being of all children. And whereas the important work done each day by our teachers and school employees help prepare students to become lifelong learners and contribute as world citizens. And whereas the impact made by our teachers and school employees extends well beyond their job titles, as they serve as listeners, role models, motivators, and mentors to our students and the entire school community. And whereas our teachers and school employees inspire students to meet high academic standards, learn how they can contribute to society, and become the best person they can be. And whereas we recognize and support our teachers, support staff, leadership, maintenance, food workers, volunteers, and all school employees in their collective mission to educate the children of our community in a caring, nurturing environment where they belong. Now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the members of the Fort Bragg Unified School District Board of Trustees, do hereby designate the week of May 11th through 15th, 2026 as Staff Appreciation Week in the Fort Bragg Unified School District, and urge everyone who lives and works within our district to join us in thanking our school employees for their service and commitment to public education.
Okay, thank you. So again, we recognize that this week is Staff Appreciation, and we thank everybody in the school district. And we do have our one and only employee is Superintendent Aldrich, so we do have a card and a little thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, Joe, for being our leader. And then since it's opportunity, I do want, the news is that the other district office ladies, Alyssa, we want to recognize that she finished your CASMO training. So thank you very much for the extra time that you did for that.
Thank you.
And then we also recognized our administrative assistant last month, Renee. So thank you for what you do for us. But we want to publicly say thank you too. Not to call anybody out, but anyway, we do have a couple people that are here every month with us. So thank you. Okay, so we will move on to number 6. Has anybody received any communication?
So I had Redwood staff reach out to me and Scott, and so since that was my site, we did go to a listening meeting talking about Redwood and where it's at today and the future of Redwood. So that was a contact I had.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else receive anything direct? Thank you. Okay, is there any public comment on agenda items that wants to be
Yes.
addressed now versus when the item comes up on the agenda?
Yes, and I have one person in the room who'd like to speak, and I think we have an email that I can share. So Jess Green, would you like to?
Hey, hi everyone. I'm hoping to make it to this agenda item, but it's on the very end of the agenda. So just in case I don't, I want to speak in favor of the Dana Gray mural proposal. It's
Is it 11?
yeah, 11.2. This is for my very dedicated classroom volunteer named Sandy Turner. It's a secret. He doesn't know about it yet. So hopefully he's not watching this meeting. But he is a volunteer through the Adopt a Grandparent program. And I met him 4 years ago at a community event, and he was talking about not having grandkids, and he was sad about that. And I said, I've got 28 grandkids for you that would love to meet you. And so he came and pretty much like right away jumped in, and he volunteers 3 days a week in my class. And he also did the overnight camping trip with us recently. And the kids like him way more than me. Like they get so excited when he walks in the room. They just love him, and he teaches social skills. He helps with them academically. I just yesterday asked a student if I could help her with writing, and she said, "Can Sandy help me instead?" So he's just such a gem, and he also is 75 this year, and he rides his bike from Pudding Creek every single day when he comes to school, rain or shine. Like he comes oftentimes in 3 layers and then has to strip the top 2 layers off so that his clothes are dry for the school day. And so my students had the idea of making a mural for him, and they drew up a sketch of Sandy biking through the 4 seasons. And then we sent that off to Jason Godek at the middle school, and he sent it back in a much more polished way, being the amazing artist he is. And Jason Godek also has done murals around town, so he's very skilled. And so we would love to have this approved if possible. I know that you guys only have it on for discussion today. I had meant to have it on the agenda for last month, but there was a miscommunication. And so I understand if it can't be approved tonight, but if it could, that would be really great, because then we could have this year's students, because Jason's ready to just like jump in as soon as we get approval, so we could have him do the outline. We just need to do like the primer, and then he's gonna do an outline, and then we were gonna have the students paint it in, kind of like the, fill in the outline. So understand if it can't be approved tonight, but I would really appreciate it if it could be expedited. And if you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Where would it go? Or is that it? It's probably.
It's in the, yeah, but it would be, where the picnic tables and the new canopy are? There's a little bike rack there, and that's where we wanted to do it on that wall. So it's on the north facing cafeteria wall. And it would be 8 feet by 12 feet. And Jason's willing to provide all the paint and brushes that we would need. We just asked for a can of primer.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. And then we have one vote on that.
Yes. that one I showed.
So, you know what, I didn't read the disclosure. So thank you, Ms. Green, for not going AWOL or anything. Individuals may address the board on agenda items on both closed and open regular session agenda during public comment and/or at the time when they are under consideration by completing the speaker forms provided on the table at the entrance and submitting to Renee Holmes, administrative assistant. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. Speakers will be chosen in random order. Each person may only speak once per agenda topic and is required to address the board from the podium. Public comment cannot be acted upon or discussed by the board unless placed on an agenda at a subsequent meeting in accordance with the Brown Act. The board may request staff to respond orally at the meeting or in writing at a future time. A total of 20 minutes public comments per topic will be allowed. If you require translation service, please contact Renee Holmes at the district office 72 hours in advance by phone or email. This meeting is being videoed and broadcast or will be placed on our YouTube channel. So members of the public who wish to address the board during the meeting are asked to please submit their email comments, which will be next, by emailing boardmeeting@fbusd.us. Staff will make all attempts to share and record any submissions received prior to and during the board meeting. However, depending on timing, late submissions may be provided to the board after the conclusion of the meeting. Comments are limited to approximately 390 words. And since we do have a comment, the following public comment was received by the district using the public comment email address. For ease of public participation, it will be read into the record by the district employee. This should not be construed as an endorsement of this comment by the district or as the position of the district.
So this was received on May 11th. Dear school board members, my name is Hannah Lee Bull. I currently work professionally as a marriage and family therapist in Fort Bragg, California, and collaborate on a couple of the volunteer initiatives in the community supporting mostly Fort Bragg High School students, such as the Latino Coalition Scholarship Committee and the LWVMC Voter Registration Youth Council. Additionally, I am a 6th generation Angelino with European, Mexican, and Indian blood. Before coming to Fort Bragg, I worked in both private and public elementary schools in New Mexico, teaching social emotional learning and carried out a 2-year study in building empathy that brought elementary age students into a wildlife refugee and llama habitat to be with large animals, large trees, and other species, measuring changes in their empathetic behavior. Jess Green has shared with me her experience taking 70 elementary school children to camp in the Mendocino woodlands. this spring and how she saw greater consideration, kindness, and curiosity in them, both there and on the return to the academic work. She seeks more grants to provide such immersion in nature regularly to students, which I support and have observed in my own work, builds empathy and improves academic curiosity and performance. Over time in New Mexico, I saw human communication, both in children and chaperone parents, become more confident, gentle, and accepting when they empathize with themselves, other humans, other species. Increased empathy leads to the following benefits resulting from nature-based education programs: better classroom management, playground behavior, reduced bullying and violence in schools, families, and communities, more classroom time spent in the academic lessons, improved self-image and awareness of self-worth, greater curiosity about life, Earth, and all of its inhabitants. I admire the nature-based education opportunities that Jess Green has offered her students and encourage the board to support her vision in every way possible. Sincerely, Anna Lee Bull, LMFP.
Any further comment from the audience? Anything online? Okay. All right, we will move on to 8.1, the student rep report.
Okay, so we got no response from Redwood Elementary, but for Deanie Gray, last night they had an open house. There was a very large turnout, lots of smiles all around. Teachers and support staff worked hard to showcase students' hard work. Deanie Gray just finished up with their state testing this week. And the Deanie Gray Parents Club has been very generous and supportive this year, especially this week. Today they had a BMX assembly sponsored by the Parents Club. And yesterday they catered a delicious lunch for staff appreciation. And last night they sold yearbooks at open house. Additionally, the 5th grade teachers met with the 6th grade teachers and they had an articulation meeting on Wednesday. And lastly, people are excited about the end of year field trips.
For Fort Middle School, they have a web spring play day on May 15th and an EL redesign ceremony on May 18th in the library at 5:30 p.m. The Fort Bragg Middle School team's rally is also happening on May 22nd, along with the school council movie night, which is also on the 22nd. All grades will be going on the end of the year field trips, and there is also a band performance on May 27th. Lastly, 8th grade promotion will be on June 4th at 5 p.m. at the Typical Stadium. For alternate education, this week they have their annual mock interview day with a variety of people from local businesses and the community coming to support those students. Next week on Monday, students, staff, and parents will be working together on updating the school vision, and Friday is their end of the year 6 class field trip. And lastly, everyone is also preparing for final exhibitions.
And for Fort Bragg High School, fall sports are coming to an end. So our softball and baseball teams just had their last games earlier this week. I'm pretty sure our softball JV girls team is having their last game today. Our swim team ended their season about 2 weeks ago. Our tennis team also ended their season a few weeks ago. Our golf team got first in their league and went to NCS this past weekend in Arcata. Heard that was pretty fun. And our track team won 3 pennants at their championships last week and have their NCS this upcoming weekend in Santa Rosa. We had a May Day training for Link Crew yesterday, which is a program juniors and seniors get assigned to groups of freshmen where they kind of stick with them throughout the whole year, and they do activities with them, little games, kind of icebreakers, team bonding, and serve to help them just with their introduction to high school. So we had the training for the new upcoming Link Crew kids for next year. That was yesterday. We also had a program called Ignite to Unite that came to the high school on Monday, where it was this man from Oklahoma came and he kind of led this activity, I guess. It was a whole day kind of thing. And he kind of helped us with our school spirit. He led us through a lot of drills with just creating it was just a lot about school spirit. We made banners and we named our student section. We made cheers to do at games, a lot of stuff like that. Anyways, that was on Monday, and open fields for next year's sports have been starting. So basketball, volleyball, football, and boys soccer have been meeting for open fields. AP testing has been ongoing, so AP Bio, AP Government, AP Environmental Science, AP Spanish, those tests have been happening. Noyo Food Forest will be hosting a paid gardening internship this summer for any high school students, and I believe you can make up to like $400 in that, so that's really cool. They're offering that this summer. And finally, the League of Women's Voters held a meeting trying to recruit kids to create a youth council to try and promote voter registration. So that happened on Tuesday. And that's all.
And for our next piece, unfortunately, Mr. Tripper could not be here to present. And so as he and I were talking, I said, well, how about you talk to those amazing student representatives that we have and see if maybe they want to do your update. And they kindly agreed. So.
My shorts has got back on practice.
Stand behind the pussies, right?
Yeah. Into the Fort Bragg High School spring highlights. Thank you. Okay, so this is the link here I was just talking about. This is some images of some of the activities we did this year. That image on the right is when we had, I think it was like prom themed dress up. You have a couple toilet paper rolls, and you have like a time limit with your group. Like I said, it's kind of team bonding and like icebreaker kind of things. So you had to dress up one kid out of your group, and then they went up to a red carpet and they tried to like show off their dress they made. That was one of the kids. And then that's another game you played just this past week. This past Friday, and then on the bottom left, you can see they're making pancakes. So we have this pancake. What's it called? Pancake breakfast. Yeah, pancake breakfast, and the culinary kids make some pancakes. Go over and get strawberries and cream pancakes. Yeah. So anyways, self-explanatory. Oh, and this is our mock trial team this year. Some photos. I'm on there. Yeah. We've been mock trial about 4 years now, so it's a pretty good team this season. We had some very good seniors. They're graduating now, obviously, but very strong team. Probably the strongest team we've had in a long time. We had 2 people win awards for the best attorney and best defense witness in our county. On the right, you can see that. We have the little awards right there. And we went to county and got 3rd place out of 3 teams. But anyways, it was a good season.
For college trips, this year the students explored college campuses first and to get inside into the future plans. And they had, Fort Bragg had 8 college trips in 2025 to 2026 with 209 students participating and 8 career field trips with 79 students participating. There's also a lot of spring sports this season with 217 athletes participating in spring sports such as baseball, softball, tennis, golf, swim.
I kind of already said how it went for spring sports. A lot of them just ended. I know golf and track had their NCS coming up and recently just happened. And you can see right there the pennants we won at track. We're both on the track team. It was just the JV girls pennant that we didn't win, so we got all those. That's spring sports.
And then each month they pick students for the month and recognize them in like they bring them to the library and sometimes they bring like treats and then they take a picture and they recognize them for 150 students who demonstrate academic excellence and character leadership. And then there's also been intramurals happening throughout the year with like intramural volleyball or intramural tennis, and it's like teams and it's like a tournament. And so they've been having, and it's during lunch, so they've been having fun doing that. There's also an art exhibit at Piaggi's showcasing the student, I think the art students have to show their local.
So college acceptance day, this just happened a few days ago. All of the kids who are already committed to their colleges, know where they're going, they met up during advisory and they had a little kind of event going on. You can see they have a photo, photo like a backdrop. They take photos holding these banners, the little flags, and I know a lot of people post on social media, they took photos of their friends, showing where they're going for college, and they made little posters showing it, so it was really fun, and you could see kind of where they're all going, and yeah, it's fun activity. So breaking down the walls was what I mentioned in our report earlier at the Ignite to Unite. I guess it goes under different names, but it was, like I said, the program creates a safe environment for students to build empathy and understanding through a play, trust, learn model. So we learned a lot about just like building kind of like the character of our school, where we, like I said earlier, we named our student section, we named it the Timber Zone, and we had created a lot of ways to kind of promote that school spirit in a sense. And we were talking about how to get freshmen more involved, how to promote our sports events more, and how to also be more inclusive towards our art events. Like you said, the art being showed at Piaggi's, and how to just kind of promote all of that more. So it was a really, really useful exercise. It had students from all different grades and all different kind of social groups coming together. So we got a lot of feedback from a variety of students, and I think it was really helpful. I heard from a lot of kids that went that they really enjoyed it, and I think it was really successful. That's all. Yeah. And those are photos of Link Crew. We went to sing and selling stuff in business marketing and forestry field trip and ag. Yeah.
I have a clarifying question, but I don't know if the girls can answer it. There was a middle school student that was invited to the high school, and I can't remember, it was like initials, like it kind of sounded like 4-H, but it wasn't. And it was kind of Link Crew-like. They were to go there for the day.
That might have been
or
that
something.
Ignite teen, I think, because we had middle schoolers also.
Okay,
We had a group of middle schoolers who.
So maybe it was with that, okay.
Yeah, it probably was. That was on Monday that happened.
Okay.
And it was a full day.
Gotcha, because they had a different name for it, which was interesting. Good, that sounds exciting.
Thank you for double dutying tonight, and do you guys need to go study for more AP testing?
We already did our AP bio.
We need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually.
We'll just pause for a second if you guys want to go with.
Yeah, I think. Good luck.
Bye.
Thank you. If we don't see you in June, we'll see you next year, right? You guys got
Committed.
We'll see you next week.
Hi, Don.
Hi. I guess I gotta hit myself.
All right, we are on to, sorry, no, my glasses, 8.3.
Right.
Mr. Alameda.
I was just telling Joe before we convened, I wish all my jobs were this straightforward and smooth sailing.
Don't jinx us.
Financially, we're doing just fine. You know, we were cautious, had some allowances for what ifs like tariffs and stuff, so we've really not really tapped into much of any of that. So financially, we're doing fine. We'll have a surplus, I'm sure. And then as far as progress, as you can see out the window, the door, it's moving along just swimmingly. All the exterior siding's up. They just started priming the siding on the inside of the car, but you can't see that, to get ready to paint the outside. The inside, the kind of, building A is the one that's closest to the street over here, and that one started first, and then B is the one that's facing this parking lot, and then C is the one opposite of A. It's kind of going in a circle. So A is the interior is all drywalled. They've painted a good measure of it already. They're about to put the T-bar ceiling, the drop ceiling in where that occurs. Other areas have exposed trusses. They've started putting in, I think the roll-up door for the open classroom area or the student area is going to get delivered tomorrow, so that'll be going in. And then on building B, it's the same thing, just not quite as far along. They're putting in the drywall and priming for the interior paint. And then C is tagging right behind. The electricians are wrapping up in there, the rough electrical and mechanical. The cover walks are all installed, and which are just the area that links all the buildings together to keep you out of the rain. And concrete walkways, or what we call flat work, with some concrete sidewalk in the inner court. About 3/4 of it's been poured, and if you saw the big truck with the big nozzle over there, that's a pumper truck. It pumps the concrete rather than having to rely on a bunch of people with wheelbarrows. So that occurred a couple of days ago. And tomorrow, the big machinery's coming to start grading the inner courtyard where the basketball court's going and the landscaping and stuff. So the final grading. Walking in there today, it's cleaned up. It was cleaned up, ready to go for them to get their trucks in there and start grading. So really, there's no outstanding issues, at least that concerns us. And the big to do over here, there's putting in the conduits for the electrical service, and PG&E is over there. We're getting ready for PG&E to get over there. So the big controversy was two 800-pound gorillas up against each other, PG&E and DSA. Yeah, we're just standing on the sideline. Okay. DSA wants the concrete pad for the transformer to be tested like all the other concrete, and PG&E often has precast pads. And you can do it either way. And more you did precast. Well, DSA's kind of put the foot down and said, well, where's all your test results? So we're just going to pour ours and let them duke it out and resolve it in another project. And the cost-wise is not much difference. You know, we'll have our testing agency have all the documentation so we don't get sent from DSA. That's the biggest controversy over there. So anyway, the work is continuing on. It's pretty good. There's a pumper truck in the picture there. So, and more of the pumper truck. Huh? No, yeah, I know what the technical name for it. I lost it for a minute. And then there's building A, that's kind of the student area. That's kind of the roll-up door. That's starting to be primed and painted. And that's building B. As you can see, it's almost caught up with A. That doesn't have any primer on it. They were taping the drywall when I went in there a couple of days. And then the admin's on the right, and more the guy on the ladders doing taping the joints on the drywall. So that's it. Anyway, going on fairly swimmingly.
So the only question I have is I'm happy that the cost of materials hasn't run us over budget. So if that, do you have, were you able to buy before things really jumped? This, a sheet of plywood is so expensive. Like, how did we not get hit with high cost materials.
Yeah, we had an allowance for like tariff allowance, which
Okay,
was kind of
gotcha.
new for this job, and we really didn't tap into it. 'cause,
Yeah.
you know, So, yeah, plywood is expensive, wood is expensive.
Yeah.
But, we didn't get that last trudge of, high expenses, so.
That's,
In
yeah,
fact, they bought materials in advance for B and C when they were buying it for A, just so it didn't lock in the price, so.
yeah, that was awesome. Because I'm thinking, so then we will save our community money. Will it, if there's excess that we'll like kind of refi, I don't know what the terminology is for bonds, but to be able to,
It's not easy to return it in that regard,
okay.
but there will be some other costs that are maybe not captured here, such as furnishing the building. That would be allowable expenses that we've got to look at first.
Part of the bond.
And
Yeah.
Don and I were just kind of talking about
Just talking about furniture, yeah.
ways that we can.
Furniture's not cheap, and it's the same scenario. You get to almost to the point where you're ready to open the door and people that, and it used to be bonds, you couldn't buy furniture in anything. So they were never budgeted in the bond sale. So then they, oh, we got this brand new building, and all of a sudden we furniture, we don't want to put that in there. So you're at that stage right now. It's not, you're not alone, it happens every time. So,
Well, hopefully our bond committee can also review our documents, make sure that is proper spending, and because we have to thank our community
Oh,
for
absolutely.
this, because we wouldn't be able to do it without them.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it's available. It used to not be, 20, 15 years ago, but now the new bond language, I think, allows for it.
And then we'll also have our Alt-Ed students on, I believe, June 4th. We're going to do a tour, so they get an idea of, as complete as it will be during this school year. They'll get an idea of that, and then we're going to schedule our Monda Oversight Committee as well coming up soon and take them on a tour. So,
Can you let us know when those are?
we'll let you know those days. June 4th, I think we're going for 11 a.m. that day. I don't know about Monda Oversight Committee. Carlos and I will put our heads together and get that scheduled.
All right, well, if there are any questions, I got to this out. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So 8.4, Mendocino County Consolidated Investment Reports for February.
These are reports that have to be presented to you as the board. It just talks about how the county is maintaining their investments. We don't have a lot of input as to how that happens necessarily.
No, they, from what I've learned about these, they are on the actual Mendocino County Tax Collector's Office, I believe. And you can look at them month by month. This one is just the most recent one that they published. But you could go back multiple years and see everything. And as you can see, it is lots of everything.
All the places that they have the current funds that generate. So sometimes when you'll see on the budget or something like that, the interest, this is what's generating the interest income as a composite for all of the funds that are there. So,
Because they're safely managing the money because it says credit quality, AA plus.
right. Most of them are AA plus, and then are AAA, AA, and then a little bit of A, and then some that aren't rated, but they can't go below an A rating as far as their own policies. So.
So this is just for information, so we'll keep moving on. So we have 8.5, our Mendocino Woodlands 5th grade field trip.
This is just kind of fun. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time, but it was so great. I want to share that joy with you guys. So here's a photo of most of the students. Mendocino Land Trust, who provided the grant for this field trip, came down and talked about the land trust and gave the kids free t-shirts. That was really exciting for everybody.
And I saw those out in the community. I was like, how do they have one? They're still wearing them.
Yeah, they love their shirts. The field trip definitely fostered community. Like, I would love to explore the possibility of doing this earlier in the school year, but regardless, it was really amazing to see how the students came together throughout the week and got to know people that they weren't necessarily friends with before. In grouping the students, we made sure that they had opportunities to be around peers who they aren't super close with. The cabin groups definitely put them in their comfort zone, but for the trail groups, they were in groups of 12, and I made sure that best friends were not together, and it was really cool to see. We'd be walking along on a hike, and they would find something that they had in common with somebody else that they never would have discovered having not gone on that walk and had that conversation. So a lot of community fostering happened. There was an unstructured child-led play every day, recreation time, and the kids just self-organized baseball games and volleyball games and all sorts of really cool things like that. Lots of friendship. It was really sweet to see kids sitting by the river and talking for it was really cool for me because I'm kind of a history nerd, but we talked about the New Deal and the funds that went to building the Mendocino woodlands and how it came out of the Great Depression and all of the history around that. So you can't really see, but down the bottom left, the kids are all holding years on their cards, and they did a little skit about the history of logging and the Conservation Corps and the building of the woodlands, and the cabins that they got to stay in felt really historically significant, and there was a lot of honoring for that. And they were very engaged. And then lots of cooperation. They set the tables and served the meals and cleaned up after the meals every day. Each cabin group had the opportunity to fulfill each of these roles, and they loved it. Like, they were so eager to serve each other and contribute to making it all happen. This song might bring back some nostalgia for you guys. Ooh, baby, let your silence flow. Yeah, Tano. Ooh, baby, let your silence flow. Baby Squirrel told me just the other day, he grabbed an acorn and he ran away. He dug a hole and he stuck it in the sand, and now tall trees grow across the land. So yeah, I still hear that song a lot. I just start humming it in class. But there was lots of songs that we learned, and they actually really helped the kids understand new concepts. And there was one, "You Gotta Change Your Evil Waste," that was about wasting food and limiting food waste. And I want to see if we can get that going at Dana Gray next year. That was a really fun one. The hike to Big Tree there's some debate about exactly how long this hike was. It definitely felt long. It was 3 miles, but it was is it 3 miles there and then 3 miles back maybe? It was a hard hike, and pretty much in that first 20 minutes, I was hearing kids say, "My legs hurt," and they made it through a really long hike. And they persevered and took breaks and supported each other. There was one point up this really big hill where kids kind of made a chain and just pulled each other along. So it was great. This is Big Tree. It's, I think, 1,300 years old and 16 meters around. And yeah, it was magic. I'm getting emotional. It was so magic to be there. And yeah, they did math and science a lot, and you didn't have to tell them to do it. They just wanted to do it. So conversions from meters to feet and weight, and yeah, lots of just natural curiosity about the environment that we were in. like I said, we talked about food waste. That on the left is the waste wizard, and they would come out every night and do this like waste wizard thing, and the kids got so excited, and we started out with like maybe half a bucket of food waste, and then by the end there was like a very small amount, so the kids learned to take what they need and not more. And this, I think, was my favorite part. The challenge course, there was like a series of obstacles that they had to figure out together as a team. And yeah, it was pretty magic to see them working together. Yeah, we did a stream ecology day. I found a newt. That was really cool for me. But just, yeah. And it was pretty cold, but they didn't care at all. Like they were in the water, shoes off, in the water looking for critters. Oh, and then there was the banana slug. Can't talk about nature camp without talking about kissing banana slugs. So actually, it turns out you can't kiss banana slugs too much, or you can get a rash, which we found out the hard way. Thankfully, he's okay. But if you kiss them too much, you have a rash. And yeah.
Harmless rash.
You may have been very dehydrated. You had like cracked lips. Okay, yeah, it could have been something else. But you had to go to the doctor and get medicine. So. Those are some very goofy fifth graders, and yeah, they're saying low key a lot right now. It's like the new 6-7. They're just saying low key every other word, but yeah, then they got to make skits, and they did it like pretty much on their own. And some of the skits were really magic. That was the only one that we got on film because all of my videos got deleted. But I wish I could have shown you guys more of the skits. Like some of them went into the past and like honoring big trees and having a light footprint on the earth, and it was really magic. So there was, I think, a lot of value to this trip. We talked about history, science, math, environmental science, SEL, theater arts, and then writing. The writing that I saw, I think on the next slide, there's a couple student quotes. You guys probably can't see it from where you are, but the writing that I saw was definitely significantly more thoughtful and detailed than I've ever seen from this group of students in the classroom. And yeah, they talk about like being connected to the river and finding a safe place and being able to be who you are and make new friends. And it just like, I feel like they're, in their own words, really shows the value of this trip. And I think there's another slide, more student testimony. Yeah, it's that one. The stream, I feel really connected and a part of the stream when I'm near it. I really like the stream because I feel calm, focused, and wanted when I am at it. I feel like the stream has so many cool insects and creatures like salamanders, dragonflies, and fish. I feel like it is my safe spot. I can't get a kid to write that in class. So yeah, from their own words. And then this is a chaperone.
Hi, my name is Tara, and I was a chaperone at the Mendocino Woodlands camping field trip for fifth graders. And I just want to say how amazing it was for the kids and even for the adults chaperoning. I was really nervous at first. I didn't know if kids would be into it for 3 days, but the kids were really into it. We did science and theater and math and biology, problem solving, and cleaning up after ourselves in the kitchen and taking care of each other. I met kids who had never been camping, and it was really great that they got to see what they have access to and what is so close to them and learn about the place where they live. So I hope this can continue. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so like I said, we were offered a grant from the Mendocino Land Trust that covered the cost of this. It costs about $300 per child, and so we were anticipating we have 106 fifth graders this year, so they gave us a grant for $30,000. We ended up only having 70 kids sign up, so it didn't cost quite that much. I've already started seeking grants for next year. I've talked to the Land Trust, and they can't guarantee the funding for future years, but they definitely are gonna consider us. I've talked to, reached out to Save the Redwoods League and the Community Foundation, and I think there are some other local organizations who would be willing to support us as well. But I just want to say to you all, if there are opportunities for the school board and the district to help cover some of the expenses of this trip, that would be great. And I'm not sure how that all works, but I just want to heavily advocate for this. I think it's a really, really important and valuable experience for the fifth graders. And the timing, I think, is also really great because it's right as they're going off to middle school, which can feel like such an unstable time, and the kids are, a little anxious about that. And I feel like this really strengthens their community and relationships going into that new chapter. So, so thanks for considering, and you might hear from me again in a few months down the road if I can't find all the money. So, thanks.
Can I ask one question?
Oh, yeah.
The 30 kids that didn't go, what were some of the reasons?
Sorry. I left very quickly. I think because it was brand new and not done before, I think there were some parents who were concerned about that, like the safety. All the chaperones had to be fingerprinted and cleared with the district office, but I think still it was just a little scary for some parents. And like Tara said, a lot of these students have never been camping before, let alone away from their parents for 4 days. And there's no cell service down there. Also, I think that was a big part of it. Like, I think in my class, most of the kids who didn't go was because they didn't want to be away from their phone. And it was really interesting that first night, they were playing Ding Dong Ditch at like 12:30. Like, it was not, that first night was rough because they were anxious because they're used to having their device right there. And like, if they wake up in the middle of the night or they can't sleep, they just hop on their phone. Like, I have students who tell me about being on TikTok till 3 a.m. And they were not wanting to go because they were anxious about being away from their phones. But then by the second night, they slept pretty well. By the third night, they slept great. And they were like going to sleep at an appropriate time because they were tired, because they'd been hiking all day. And then they were waking up to a conch shell in the morning and like eager to start the day. So I think probably those two things are the biggest things. Jeannie, the director of the Woodlands, said that it's also pretty normal the first time that the school offers this, that a lot of parents opt out because, it's new. But if we continue doing it, I think our numbers could go up. Yeah. Does anybody else have questions?
Amazing. Good fresh air and a break from school. Bainbridge Park's been remodeled. You can walk down there. It's really funny because I went there in fifth grade. It was an offering during the summertime. So my parents sent me there for, I don't know how long it was, but same dining hall.
Yeah.
But it brought me right back. I was like, wow, it was really fun.
I'm pretty sure they've been using the same dining
No,
hall
it's
since like
truly the
30s.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the
Yeah.
same. It's
Yeah.
the same. It was a while ago.
Same.
But I was in fifth grade. Thank you for venturing out.
Okay, all right, 8.6, our community school family liaison report.
Thank you. And that's what it is, community schools basically. So I don't have to say too much. Because basically, this is the opportunity to understand a little bit what is community school, an overview, how we started, where we at, and what is the future plan. So community schools basically is for rural schools having always the heart of the communities, playing a central role, not only in education, but also in shaping the future of the entire community. The community school model builds on these strengths, helping rural schools improve current programs and expand learning opportunities through closer collaboration with local families, community partners, and other stakeholders. So community schools are built on 4 pillars of the California Community School Framework, anchored by an NAA, which basically is the Needs and Assets Assessment Implementation Plan. And basically what we have is how we're going to be supporting our students in a better way, and definitely understanding that our teachers cannot do it alone, but also forming those partnerships with our families. And we are bringing our families as being part of the team. Also extending the extended learning opportunities with the after-school program. When I started doing community schools and going to other places and they were saying, oh, but we don't have assets, oh, but we don't have an after-school program, oh, we don't have ELAC, I was like, oh, we have that, oh, we have that, oh, we have that. And it was very exciting to see that we were just building on our strengths. And I think you can go to the next slide. Thank you. Because what we really wanted is like, we were doing things in a good way. We were a good place, but definitely we can do better. So the community schools model is very flexible, and it is made for rural schools, and we are rural and isolated, and we should be proud of it. Sometimes what we think is our weakness is our strength. And when I go to Reading and they tell me that they are rural, I'm like, you have no idea. No, you have everything here. So the next slide, please. With this grant, all of our sites benefit, which definitely means that all of our students are part of this community school model, which gives access to all the supports. Next, please. When we started this grant, we had definitely our challenges, and chronic absenteeism was one of them. It was really high, and still is high. It's high still, and our graduation rate is not the greatest. But like I said, mental health access is difficult in our area, and access to medical care is one of the problems that we have as well. So we need to find what are the resources that are in the community so we can support our students in their social and emotional well-being. So the next slide, please. Now, our chronic absenteeism was reduced by 10%, which we should be proud. We're not there yet where we should be, but definitely now we have an attendance liaison, which she's working very closely with our family liaisons, and they're placing those phone calls and doing home visits, and that's where, the counselors, the principals are doing home visits as well. So in the future, we're moving also like, okay, those partners, those teachers, how they're gonna form partnership with the parents. Well, some of the teachers also maybe will have to do some of the home visits as well. Our graduation rate also increased by 5% in this year. Like I said, we were building on our strengths. We started with 2 bilingual family liaisons. We were already having intervention and wellness programs in place, or dual enrollment or CTA programs, leadership, professional development for teachers, and our expanded learning program. And we were establishing relationships with our parents. So with this grant, we are able to coordinate and expand all these services, and especially sustain. Because we got this grant for 5 years, but definitely our goal is to keep expanding and to sustain. we're not gonna watch the video, but when you have time, you can watch that video. But we started like, we have a little area, which is the community and family engagement place, which is a cafe. Everybody knows it as a cafe, which we started like with the two bilingual family liaisons. And the parents and the students were coming over here, where we were able to provide hygiene items, connecting them with other agencies in our community, like Project Century or the Food Bank. And definitely it became the center for our families, and not only during registration time, but throughout the school year. We are have Thrive also as a expanded mental health supports. We have Thrive in our schools. We have the support of Mendocino Culture Project in our schools. We have mindfulness through martial arts, which the kids love it. But also we had a session at the high school with the parents. It was attended by 6 moms, and they said like, please tell us that we're gonna have this again. I said, yes, this is just a pilot program. So that was a good response, and we're hoping that we can do that again at another site. And our parents sometimes need a little bit of relaxation and resources. From 2 bilingual family liaisons, we expanded to 4 family liaisons. We removed the bilingual part because now we serve all of our students, not only our Spanish-speaking students, we also serve our McKinney-Vento students and our foster students. And definitely they are helping the teachers, the counselors, and the principals to build that connection at home. And that video is one of the video that we have for the student, for everybody, the students especially, created by Sophia Fischera and Eleanor Shiro. And it's really great. So when you have an opportunity, please then tell us also a little bit about what other mental health resources are available through Soluna, through Never Bother, and I'm forgetting what is the other one for. Bright Life Kids, which basically are in the state is using the money so people can use this. We also have the flyer, that You Are Not Alone flyer, that is at all of our sites, which basically also is the resource, the mental health resources that are available. And the parent, they just can click there, and it has a link to all the resources available. The next slide. Thank you. The expanded learning opportunities with Blockworks, and this is a number that we received like around February, so I'm sure we have more students participating in the after-school programs, which is an extended school day basically for some of our students with supports during ASIDS as well. The Family Wellness Fair is our biggest event, and we are getting ready for our Family Wellness Fair that is going to be taking place on August 14th from 3 to 5 p.m. Last year, 172 students attended, which they had access to free backpacks, hygiene bags, school supplies. Everything was for free. We partnered with Mendocino Coast Clinics to have immunizations on site, which was very beneficial for some of our, especially kindergarteners, that were getting ready to start the school year. So this year we're planning to do a little bit more, a little bit bigger. Every year I tell Gail, we started small, and every year I try to have more agencies. And now it's amazing because now the agencies are the ones that say, I'm having a Family Wellness Fair. I'm like, yes, I'm having a Wellness Fair. So that's amazing. Next slide, please. So like I was saying, the cafe is right here. And we officially launched the place in December, which from December to April, we had 694 visits. And of those 694 visits, 30 of those visits, students requested hygiene items. The most requested items are right there, like shampoo, conditioners, laundry detergent, toilet paper, and 49 families have asked for hygiene items as well, and 71 students have received shoes. shoe vouchers as well. This program, again, we have to partner with or with our community partners. Mendocino Presbyterian Church has donated some of the items and some of the money, and the Mendocino Coast Children's Fund, they just say, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? So it's just amazing, the support that we have from our community. The family liaisons, I'm very proud. I was so sad when I was looking at a picture of the family liaisons because I don't have a picture of the team. And Carla is missing right there, but we have Donna Baxman, who is our attendance liaison. And last year we had 1,617 contacts. This year is 3,870. And that means that our family liaisons are reaching out to our families, but also that means that our teachers are reaching out to the families and the principals and the counselors as well. So we are making connections with our families, and we should be proud of that. Just alone, our attendance liaisons, she has made 990 contacts for attendance from August to April. And yeah, I'm very proud of this work. For next steps, right there we have Francisca Toscano, who is our statewide student advisory representative. We're going to be doing data walks. In data walks, basically, we love data, right? All of us love data. Well, what that data means, and we need to explain that to the parents. So we're going to be explaining data to the parents so they can understand what is chronic absenteeism, what counts as an absence, what do they want to know about school, how they can, how we can improve their child's learning. So all of those questions, and also again, strengthen our family engagement and amplifying the student voice. So when we send out surveys, is because it is important. Data tells us what's happening, but the student voice tells us what is happening. And what they were saying when they had the event on Monday at the high school, it was amazing just to hear all the stuff that they were saying, that what they want to see happening in our school. So, so that's the power also of community schools, that it amplifies the student voice. And keep continuing building on our strengths. And the next slide, please. We're also going to be explaining to parents what are our reading and math performance and our English learner progress and our multi-tier system of supports. We know that we have wellness room, how we are using our wellness room in our schools. Our parents need to know that. We need to bring our parents as a co-partners so they can understand all this data that we're showing them. We are doing pretty well with Parent Square. We sent out a survey to the parents. Parents like to receive Parent Square. They mentioned that they would like, again, to see more backpack flyers. That will be great, especially at Redwood and Daybreak. Not to clutter the backpack, but so they can be informed as well. We will increase for this coming year more social media presence. I was telling Joe that I would love to have a social media ambassador. We need to have more presence on TikTok and Instagram and all of those places where our families are really checking. And one of the schools that I visited, they did a tamale sale. And one of the outlet schools, smaller than ours. And they recorded a TikTok video. It had 15,000 views. Wow. So parents like to see that. So we need a more social media presence, personal invitations. So instead of like just sending a flyer, it's gonna be like, Kathy, we have a family wellness fair. I would like to see if you're available on August 14th from 3 to 5. So I hope you can make it. And I look forward to seeing you there. And put in your calendar, I'll be calling you. So things like that. So we are doing well, but we can definitely do better. And the next slide. Thank you, huge thank you to our community partners. They're just amazing. We cannot do this. We cannot do camping without our community partners. They are always there. We just have to call them, we just have to ask, we just have to bring them to the table. And to the market, I'm so grateful with them because any event, they're just, what do you need? What do you need? Or what we can give you? So it's amazing, our community. And next slide is, this is, oh, it's not working, but don't worry, it's too long. I'll check the access. But you can watch it, and definitely we ask our students, our high school students, what makes you feel like you belong at school? And it's amazing. So, any questions? Oh, I have 2 quotes for you. One is from a community schools book that is called Everyone Wins by Karen Max. And it says, peer participation is the leading predictor that supports students' academic success, regardless of race, socioeconomic status, ethnicity, or cultural background. So, any questions?
So all the sites, how does everyone, because I know everyone kind of has hotspots at their schools. So how do they reach out to you, or what's the hierarchy, or if a parent is needing help, you know, what does that look like? How does someone, because no one wants to ask for help and say, I'm struggling.
So if it's a Spanish-speaking parent, the family liaisons are connecting with them directly. If it's a family, and they visit the sites. And if it's a English-only family, they get familiar, and there's either the counselor or the principal that will send that connection. Sometimes even Joe will connect us to a family. But basically, it's through those channels. Or sometimes it will be one of the teachers saying, hey, like I have this situation, or my student. It's amazing when a teacher notices student, because I know they have so many faces. But when the teacher said, like, you know, this child, I'm noticing this, how can we support them? And then we would come in as a team, and then we can see that that child is being supported. It's just amazing, because it only takes just one adult to notice a child in the school, only one adult. And I remember one time when I went to the counseling office, and one of the liaisons came back and said, I need a shoe voucher, and went back and gave it to the student because his shoes were in no good shape at all. And when she gave that shoe voucher to the student, she's like, he grabbed it like this and said, somebody noticed me. So, yeah, that's the power of community schools, and it takes just our teachers in the classroom, so thank you for that, yeah.
Thanks a village. And camping.
It's a part of it.
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. 8.7, the FBDTA report. Did I skip something? Community school, was that 6?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, I didn't reprint, so then we've got, hold on.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So my report is a continuation of a previous report that we made. Back in March, we shared out about special ed in the district. We shared out a lot of awesome things that are going on. We also shared a few areas of concern. We all feel very strongly that it's important that all of our students in the district succeed. And we felt that highlighting some of the challenges that we're facing in providing a quality education to these students was important. Our goal in highlighting these issues is to ask for support and to collaborate with you. This work is hard, and it takes full investment from everyone. It takes a student-centered budget. And I know that our report caught some people off guard. We caught Superintendent Aldridge off guard, maybe some of you. That was not our intention. Our intention was not to highlight issues in a very public, permanent place in a way that put anyone on the spot. Truly, we are trying to work together to meet the needs of our students. You were all given a written report from the Director of Special Programs in response to what we said in our report. And after reviewing this report, we feel it's important to readdress the issue. Some of the things that were said, we disagree with, and we feel that additional context is important. So Jess spearheaded this project. Teachers, more than just who is in the room, contributed to it. And we hope that you take the time to review what we have compiled, and we hope that you continue engaging with our members about these issues. Diana and Scott met with, or Trustee Paoli and Trustee Schneider, my apologies, met with some folks at Redwood, and so we appreciate that, and we appreciate the ongoing conversation and engaging with us about these issues. We all share the same goal, to provide a special education program that goes beyond legal compliance and provides every student with the supports and opportunities that they need to be successful in school. And so with that, Jess.
I would like to just read the summary of the report. This report was developed collaboratively by special education teachers, general education teachers, support staff, and union representatives across the district in response to the special education director's report presented to the Board of Trustees. The purpose of this document is not to diminish the dedication of individual staff members or programs, but to provide a broader and more comprehensive picture of the current state of special education services from the perspective of those working directly with students every day. Contributors consistently expressed commitment to student success, inclusive practices, compliance with state and federal law, family collaboration, safe and effective learning environments. At the same time, staff across multiple school sites identified recurring systemic concerns involving staffing shortages, high caseloads, delayed evaluations and services, inconsistent implementation of inclusion models, high turnover in some programs, lack of substitute coverage for SPED certificated teachers, safety concerns for students and staff, limited behavior support systems, insufficient training and collaboration time, compliance concerns related to IEP implementation and timelines. The report also highlights areas of success within the district, including strong preschool inclusion programs and resource programs district-wide, dedicated paraprofessionals and teachers, positive site leadership support at some campuses, collaboration with MCOE SELPA specialists, commitment from staff despite challenging conditions. Educators across the district remain deeply committed to serving students with disabilities and supporting inclusive educational opportunities. Staff repeatedly expressed appreciation for colleagues, paraprofessionals, and site administrators who continue to support students despite increasing demands and limited resources. This report also reflects widespread concern that current systems are not sustainable without meaningful changes to staffing, training, behavior supports, communication structures, and compliance systems. Contributors hope this report will serve as a constructive tool for collaboration, a catalyst for systemic improvement, a framework for future planning, a voice for educators, students, and families. The shared goal across all contributions is clear: to create safe, legally compliant, well-supported, and effective educational environments where students with disabilities can succeed and where educators have the resources necessary to serve them well. If the superintendent or the board would like to see further evidence of any of the above claims, they're encouraged to contact FBDTA union leadership. I also want to acknowledge that we met with Joe regarding this report and that we appreciate his collaborative response to working together. And we look forward to working with the new director of student services to serve all our students. And does anyone have questions?
Not at this time. I have many notes. I have questions, but maybe Joe will address some of them in the superintendent report. I'm not sure. Some areas.
And 8.8, the CSEA report, do we have anything from?
I did not receive it.
Okay. All right, thank you. 8.9, the superintendent report.
So So we're going to start with the big news today, which I really have not had a lot of time to delve into, but that was the governor's May revised budget update came out. There's looks like good news, but it still is one of those, what I'm hearing is that the legislature doesn't necessarily agree with some of the things that were proposed, and so this is this back and forth that puts us in such a weird position. Overall, they're acknowledging that the funding should move upward by about $6.4 billion over the 3-year period of last year, this year, and looking toward next year. However, out of that money, a lot of, I think it was about $4 billion that they're suggesting will go into the rainy day fund. So that goes into the reserve, not necessarily actually allocated out to schools. So there was that part of things that was a little frustrating. It also maintains a withholding of about $3.9 billion of funding that they don't want to allocate out of the $5.6 billion that we were talking about before. So a little frustrating there as well. The legislature has said they do not intend to withhold anything. So again, I don't know how that's all going to play out just yet. Good news is that they're suggesting a 4.31% COLA to LCFF and some categorical programs. With that, that also they're suggesting something I really do support, but it's also, I'm not sure that they're adequately funding it with the COLA and the way that they think they are, is requiring 14 weeks of paid pregnancy leave for the employee. Like I said, I really support that. I just don't know that they're fully funding it in the way that they think they're fully funding it currently. So I'm a little waiting to hear more details about how that might shape up. Looking at something we really do appreciate is adding additional money for special education, because we all know that that's a severely underfunded program. And so that's, they were suggesting $509 million in January. They have increased that to $2.4 billion, so that in real dollars for our district, it looks somewhere around $500,000 that goes to pay for special education costs that will then relieve some of the general fund contribution over to that program in that way. So that's definitely welcome news in that regard. Also maintains some funding for community schools. We're still in our grant period, so this isn't something that necessarily affects us currently, but if they can continue to maintain actual funding for community schools, that could be an ongoing source that we can continue some of the great programs that I was just talking about as well. There's some other details that were shared there, but those are kind of the highlights of things. I'll be attending some training, I think, coming up the day after Memorial Day. I'm going to hear a little bit more about, after they get some time to analyze kind of deeper and see where the trends are with the legislature as well. I think with this being the final year, the final governors may revise. There were some things that he was maybe not providing a lot of negotiation on, whereas the legislature has said, well, you're going to be out, so we're going to do what we want to do. So it should be an interesting next about month or so. They have to have this ready by June 15th, or they don't get paid. So I assume they will get that done in that time period, so we'll know a little bit more at that point. All in all, fairly positive for education. I don't know the impact that's going to have on other areas of the budget in the state that might have some other implications for, say, Medi-Cal or some of those other pieces that some of our families rely on as well. So more details to come there. They are also continuing a lot of proposals that they've had around supporting for teacher prep. So things like we were able to advertise and support for teacher residencies and some of those pieces this year, which if we know anybody out there in the community who has their bachelor's degree, has an interest in becoming a teacher, teacher residency is a great program. This year was sort of a pilot of trying to get a couple people in. Next year we'll recruit a lot harder for that through MCOE has some slots for that. So basically it's you have a teacher that would be co-teaching with you as a student teacher for an entire year. They come out of that with their actual credential, as opposed to it being a 2-year program with an intern. So, yeah. So again, if you know people out there, we can start talking really early to them next year and really get them recruited so that by the time the program's up and running, we'll have them going. I don't know if they're doing January enrollments or not, but there's certainly by this time next year, we'll have folks. We're continuing those supports. On to the next thing, our office completed federal program monitoring. So to give you an idea of the scope of this, the 3 folks you see here submitted most of these 400 documents that needed to be uploaded over the course of time. So it was a lot of extra work in a system that was built by the state.
Not 400 pages, 400 documents.
400 documents.
500 pages a read, but this is 400 documents.
400 documents, some of them, most of them multi-page,
Yeah.
at least, if not, some were 20 or 30 pages long. So it was just,
A lot.
it was quite a lot for our office, on top of, trying to support our employees through this insurance stuff and all the other pieces that our office has been involved with this time of year, writing LCAPs and all that kind of thing. So we came out really well. We have one finding, and it's just in how we document time and effort records for employees, funded from Title I, Title II, and Title IV. Shouldn't be a lot of extra work on the employee other than to sign something about once a week. So, we'll have to do a little bit of training and come up with a documentation process for that, and that's pretty much the remedy for it, and then we'll be clear. But everything else, we pass pretty much with flying colors. So we really appreciate the support from the DO, and then also Fort Bragg Middle School had a lot of contributions. Our principals at other sites had some pieces they had to contribute, but those were the 2 sites that really took the majority of those documents there. So, I wanted to provide an update on our district of choice, interdistrict transfer annual report. So we have 41 students who are attending our district that live in another district that's primarily Mendocino Unified. I have about 45 students who are residing in our district and attending another district, primarily Mendocino Unified. So it's pretty balanced. Our district of choice limit with MUSD is 50 students. And so it'll never get above that amount, but we stay pretty well balanced every year with that. Our window closes a lot later, so we may get more students for next year, because we'll take students pretty much anytime. Our big draw here is on top of our excellent teachers and excellent programs that we have going, is that we also have really active sports programs and after school pieces and a lot of things that are, I think, just offer a lot of different options for parents here and do some really great things. So I appreciate the culture that all our employees create to support. We also have some retirements in the district. We've known about some of these for some time, and others have been a little more recent. But we got Carolyn Greeny, Director of Special Programs, Tina Krenov, our District EL Coordinator and Migrant Ed Intervention Specialist, Leanne Berkwall, teacher at Redwood Elementary, Monica Lima, teacher at Redwood Elementary, Kim Myrtle, teacher at Redwood Elementary, and Melissa Piori, teacher at Dana Gray and Redwood Elementary, are retiring at the end of this school year. So we thank them so much for their time and service to our students. We do have their apples and things, so we'll connect with them. We check with them all that they weren't coming tonight. Otherwise, we would have honored them here in person at the meeting. But we, like I say, we really appreciate all the. I was thinking about how many years are represented in service.
Over 100.
Oh, well over 100, probably approaching, probably over 200 if I'm looking at the amount of services there. So it's much appreciated, all the time and effort that these folks have put into supporting our students and our community. I was asked to provide a couple of updates on some of our facilities things. We are working on some technology infrastructure upgrades that'll be completed at Redwood this summer. We did a few things over spring break and then we'll finish the rest. understanding is that things are functioning better at Redwood as far as some of the pieces that we're dropping. Some of our access points were. And then I was asked some information about a TK building information. So we had a fourth classroom that we added on to the TK building program. That was funded 100% with our expanded learning opportunities funds. And because of that, it can only be used for that purpose. And that comes directly from the state. There's nothing I can change around that. So that funding, like I said, that we wouldn't have that fourth classroom were not for that expanded learning funds that were there. So, looking at human resources, we're looking at staffing levels for 26, 27. I mean, they're adequate based on our contract numbers and that kind of thing, and based on our current enrollment. As we move into next year, we'll need to project what our enrollment decreases for 27, 28 are going to be, and adjust those staffing levels accordingly. So just trying to put that out there on the horizon that we are projecting next year our decrease in enrollment is about 40 students. For 27, 28, we may be looking at an additional 60 students, so about 100 students over the next 2 years in decreasing enrollment. So, and then it could have even further drops after that. So just trying to keep that out there on the horizon that is a reality for our district, as well as many other districts across the state. It's not unique to us necessarily. And then I just wanted to say a big thank you with the staff of appreciation this week to all of our staff and everything they do. We appreciate everything they do to support our students, from getting them to school, feeding them, teaching them. And we really appreciate that the board, the Parents Club, our district also provided some recognition and tried to make sure everybody got a thank you note throughout the district. So every employee got that, along with our stress balls, because we also have some very stressful jobs. We really do appreciate all the work that everybody does. We don't always get a chance to say that. Thank you. And that concludes my report.
Any questions?
So this might come out in the budget, but I heard the community schools is a five-year, and we're on.
We're completing year 2.
So this is going on to year 2, and then each school was allocated. Does that get spent every year, or is there a holdover, or how does that work?
So we're allocating $50,000 per year, basically, and there's not a carryover necessarily of that, but each school has $50,000 per year to spend on that.
Okay.
So,
So this year, we'll get a report. I guess that it's been used for this year, but
generally, yeah, the sites have used it for different things.
then every year they'll get that. Okay,
yeah.
that's good.
We're trying to get, I spoke with some staff from Redwood yesterday as well about, trying to get more input from the leadership team there about, what that should be. It hasn't been allocated on anything so far for next year. So just
Because that's an audited monies, or how does that work? Just part of our budget?
So we have to put a budget plan out to the community schools. It goes through a big process, so that'll be part of my June work, is to get all those pieces together, provide the annual report, see where we are, see if there's any adjustments to that.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so I was waiting because Dinah mentioned there might be a few things to address the FBTTA report. I just wanted to thank you for both reports, and just comment that the board is at a very unique level. We're very policy, budget, and I guess kind of procedural. And I just want to make sure that we keep asking the questions and doing the follow-up. But it sounds like there's been some great conversation started. We have lots of staff changes in our district. Hopefully that opportunity will provide even more discussion and transparency and collaboration. So thank you for the reports, and Joe, I'm sure will follow up with us as those conversations keep going. So thank you. All right. And we will do what we can at this level. Any other questions for Joe or?
There'll be
Board
future
member?
questions. I'm good at questions.
Okay. All right, so item number 9 is the approval of the agenda consent items. So, Vice President Statham, would you mind reading those?
Approving warrants for 1st to 30th, the minutes of the 4/16 regular board meeting, the 4/23 board workshop, personnel reports, contracts, and out-of-state travel requests.
All right, these are traditionally non-controversial or routine items. Is there anything a board member feels that needs to be pulled for further discussion?
Scott's not here, but he always seems to really look at these expense reports. And we just don't want to shortchange anyone. I don't know that the math's right on Eric Forster's.
As a presenter.
He's a presenter. Okay, so
Yeah, we
I
asked
felt
that.
like,
I asked
okay.
that- I asked that question
It
also.
doesn't quite add up, and I'm not, we
It's
don't
not
want
the
to
same
short.
for one as the other two.
Yeah, okay, so everyone else is very good at that.
Yeah, big picture learning is providing certain pieces for
Certain
certain
pieces.
goals. And honestly, we also have a student who has been asked to go along and present as kind of a first for their organization, and have this person serve as an intern during the time as well. So it'll be
So
great.
it looks like, it looks like he's shorting himself $160. I don't know why it's not 100.
We approve it that way, it's what, I'm just kidding.
Meals, I'm sure that the math can be corrected later. Okay, very good.
And it's usually an estimate, so.
It's a proposal, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Move to approve the consent items.
thank you.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, consent items carried, thank you. All right. Okay, so we have many action items tonight. Are we good to keep powering through? Anybody need a? Okay,
None of these are very long.
Too long. Okay, you never know. All right, 10.1, Resolution 2610, specification of election order.
So this is just for a routine piece for our normal election order for the board seats that will be up for election this year.
So the format looks a little bit different, so it's just something that MCOE gave, because I thought there was also like a consolidation as well, but this is taken care of.
This is what they
Yeah.
provided.
This is what they provided, so this is the most recent update. They always provide that to us, so it's,
Okay, awesome.
So just to be transparent, we do have 3 seats up this December election. So they're 3 4-year terms. Right now, we had 1 on a 2-year and 2 on a 4-year. So I know in the past, we have been accused of not advertising that. So I've seen it on the district office window. And then I'm sure there's many people listening tonight. And then I'm sure Renee will get it out there in the public too, but they're,
We have to publish it in the newspaper.
so.
send it out to folks.
Everyone gets the newspaper.
And we also support with the filing fee, as the board voted some 3 years ago, 2 years ago, for us to support that. So if filing fee is a prohibition to someone running, then we'll refund.
The candidate statement you'll pay for, does Spanish and English, etc.
And so please reach out if anybody is interested. You can talk to a board member. Please meet with Joe. Sometimes I think the lines are blurry on what our role is. So it's great to have as much information as you can before you
That's true.
jump in. So
So
we're,
July 13 is the first day you can pull your papers, and then I think it closes August 7th. Unless an incumbent doesn't file, then it'll get extended.
okay, so more to come on that. All right, so we need to approve the resolution 2610, and or is everybody okay with not reading it? Okay. All right,
I'd move to approve resolution 2610, specification of an election order.
a second? Any further discussion? Any public comment? All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Statham?
Aye.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Right, 10.2, Proposition 28, Arts and Music in Schools Funding Annual report fiscal year 25-26.
So this is a annually required report that just talks about how we are spending the Prop 28 funds. If you remember, Prop 28 was to go to fund arts and music in schools. And so we currently fund 2.5 FTE that serve our elementary schools, and then also for a drama position at our middle school. And so total, we have 739 students who are served using this funds.
So initially, did this have the requirement that had to be new teacher? Is that
It did.
part of it? And then
Yeah,
now,
so we
obviously, after
can't
the first
include
year,
Our band program that was existing, we
Okay.
can't include our art programs that were existing, so it's this, we serve more students in art and music, but we can't report that on this part because it's not
Okay.
Prop 20.
so that's always the rule.
That's always the rule. But I'm also looking at ways that we can bend that rule because I want to make sure we spend every dollar of Prop 28 and not send any money back. So we're gonna do that every way we can. So I'm seeing if we can change the course title, does that, those types of things. So I'm letting other people be the guinea pig on it to test the state, and then we're gonna see what flies. So.
Any public comment?
I move to approve Proposition 28 Arts and Music and School Funding Annual Report for fiscal year 25-26.
Second?
Thank you. Any further discussion? And roll call, please.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
And Trustee Stephen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 10.3, Arts, Music, and Instructional Materials Block Grant Plan Update.
So I've had you approve this a few times as this has evolved over time. They've added more money, they've taken some away, they've done this back and forth. So this is just updating. This all has to be expended by June 30th of this year. So as we move things around, hopefully we don't have to bring this back one more time for approval, but if we do, we're going to make sure again that we spend every dollar of it to relieve as much general fund as we can to make sure that carries forward into next year. This can really, despite the name, can really be spent on any operational costs that the district has. So we, like I say, there won't be any problem spending at all, but I think this should have it allocated in a way that generally encumbers it all. So.
Great. Any questions?
Does it get adjusted each year with input from leadership, or how do
So
you-
it's really our input that we get through our LCAP processes and that kind of thing is how we've driven it. It's just another funding source that we use to support that. So it's part of our kind of more holistic take on that. It's not to specifically call out this fund, but just in general how we speak.
Okay, I'll call for a motion, please.
I move to approve Arts, Music, and Instructional Materials Block Grant Plan Update.
Second?
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Diana? No discussion. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And Trustee Stephen?
Aye.
Motion
10.4, Flockworks Memorandums of Understanding for ACES Assets and the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program.
So we are at the point where we have now been working with Blockworks to support our after-school programs for 3 years. I believe it's been that long, but so it's time to just renew these MOUs with them. Their services, I think, keep improving, keep supporting our students in ways, and they're always open for feedback. We're meeting regularly. I think it's functioning pretty well from everything that I hear. So I'm happy to recommend that we continue working with them for a 2-year term under these MOUs. So.
Any questions?
And the funding is
So far, everything is stable. There is, in all of the MOUs, there's a clause that says if the funding decreases, then we'll come back and renegotiate those and renegotiate the services. So I think we're protected in that. This, they pretty much have come directly from our legal, so, outside of a couple of requirements for the district and Blockworks that sort of shifted and changed. Not much else was changed within the years.
And you had mentioned in one of our updates that there was some general fund encroachment, but you guys have had your meetings and kind of.
Yeah, we figured
Plan
that
for
piece
that.
out, and we were also talking with them about the idea of them taking on more of a role during summer school kind of thing. Just to, if they're already paying staff for coming, and so just looking at some of those options, not for this year, but in future years or whatnot, just to also give our staff some time off to consider some close day. Really tired during summer school. So. And it's just a challenge to staff sometimes. And so just a way to help support that.
More camping.
Okay, 10.4. All right, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Move to approve the Blockworks Memorandum of Understanding. Expanded learning opportunity program.
And a second?
I can second it.
All right, a first and second. Any further discussion? And roll call, please.
Trustee Costi,
Yes.
trustee Statham.
Aye.
Trustee Babcock
Yes,
and trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. 10.5, Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Plan 2026.
So our ELOC plan has just evolved as we've gotten some more guidance and clarifications, and so we just worked with Blockworks to update them. There aren't any really significant changes in the plan necessarily. It's just, like I said, keeping up with some of the state's guidance on these things. Pretty much outlines the possibility of services, and there's some things included in there that are aspirational, such as like before school care. We can make that work like at grade where the day starts a little bit later, and that's sometimes a challenge. We do have opportunities, like we have teachers who are coming in and doing some really great clubs, and there's some other pieces like that, but it'd be nice to know, for parents to know, oh, there's homework help that's dedicated every day through, that or some other opportunities. So we'll see some of those pieces hopefully come into fruition as funding allows, and as the program staff and their program or within our programs are available to do that. So.
Any questions? Public?
So that will also be part of our budget discussion to know the funds and how that, because I know that it was such a, it's hard to think way back in the beginning, no one wanted to touch the money because all of the rules and what you could do with it and not do with it. So I forgot about all the stringent factors of that.
We're absolutely compliant with that. That was part of the federal program monitoring we had last year.
Okay, so you
around
had
that,
it looked over.
where we also found out about because we paid for that building with ELOP, that was the feedback we got from them at that time.
Right.
So yes, the programs are compliant, and they are functioning within the budget of our ACES assets and ELOP funding. There isn't any general fund encroachment at this point. The problem we run into is just when we hit summer school time, that gets a little cloudy, yes, because we're paying for some of it and we're paying them for some portions of the full 9-hour day during some of those times. So.
And does that end up ending? I mean, ELOP in the sense of.
There's no end date on it currently. That's
Right.
the ongoing
So
program.
that's amazing.
So it's really awesome that we have that many students. I mean, if you include assets in our accounts, we have 900 students, I believe, in our district who are receiving no cost after schools, before school support. So it's pretty rocking for a district our size to have well over half of our students participate in these programs.
Yeah, right, because the former superintendent, it was so, it had
It
a
was
lot of
new
teeth in it, and if you didn't use it appropriately, you'd have to pay it back, and we didn't have that kind of money, and so I'm so glad that it's been vetted that the use is proper and it's not sunsetting.
Yep, so it's all good and it's benefiting our community in an amazing way. I think Redwood, we have almost 200 students participating in the program out of 320-ish students there. So I mean, that's really huge. And allowing parents to continue to work full work day and not have to spend so much on childcare now.
All right, if there's no public comment or further questions, I'll call for a motion.
I can move to, that we approve the expanded activities program plan for 2026.
No second. Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Austin?
Yes.
And Trustee Stigler?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 10.6, Fort Bragg Middle School revised school plan for student achievement.
This is for the 25-26 school year. This comes from our federal program monitoring that we had to get some updates that were done and on the fly while they were here, actually. So they were impressed that we can get it done in the time period. So Laura did a great job and her staff of making that happen. So just with approval of this, then they said, oh, you've got it on the board agenda, great. So we will have a couple of our 25-26 plans and our 26-27 plans on the June board agenda, so they're ready for next school year. So,
And she brought me forth the site council because I was there.
yes.
So it's been vetted.
Okay. Any questions? Public comment? All right.
Are you asking for public comment about any of these?
Well, we have to, at this point,
For
it's,
10.6.
right, so I'm on 10.6, if you've got anything for 10.6, okay. All right, I'll ask for a motion, please.
I move to approve the Fort Bragg Middle School revised school plan for student achievement for 25-26.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? And a roll call, please.
Trustee Statham?
Aye.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, and another non-controversial thing, our CIF 26-27 designee to our league. We have to do this every year.
Yep, it's an annual thing that we certify, and so no changes for this year.
I would assume no questions, but pause. Okay, I'll call for a motion, please.
Move to approve the California Interscholastic Federation 26-27 designation of CIF representatives to the league.
Perfect, and a second? Yes. Thank you. Any further discussion? And a roll call, please.
Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And Trustee Statham?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, 10.8, District Core Literature Selection Procedure and List.
And so this is the item I was suggesting. I do not see anyone here from our humanities department at middle school wanted to be able to make some comment on that. So if the board's amenable to it, I would recommend postpone that item to our June agenda.
To the June.
I will say that we have done the work on the novels list. I think they are complete at this point with the information in there, so you can see a lot of what's there. That'll give you some more time to also review that, see if there's any questions in that presentation or anything that needs to be adjusted. And also we'll give our staff a little bit more time to look at that and provide us any feedback if something's unclear, or if there's anything that we need to do in that presentation that makes our goals clear as to this process.
So I just have a question, and I don't know if it needs to be prepared for next month, but when I was thinking about how I was going to discuss this item, so there's 3 books that are on the middle school list that are theoretically 7 through 12, but when you dig deeper, it's really 9 through 12. I was wondering if that, and I know is it a positive, when the parents have to approve that their children are reading it, is it a positive or is it a negative, permission?
I think it's usually a negative permission, like if you wish to have your child exempted from, because that's in line with what our policy is for those.
Right, I was just thinking as the controversy that we've had over a few items, that I'm wondering if those items that are pushed down, if we do approve them, maybe putting that the other way so that parents really have to pay attention to what they're, so we don't have this later. I don't know. It's just something I thought about when I was digging around with Renee's documents,
I think I can speak
the
at
links
least
and stuff.
from like the experience I've had as a classroom teacher, and I know that our teachers have, that getting sometimes positive permission means that there's going to be students who are excluded who parents has no objection to. It's just something that never gets returned, and then we've got students who are.
Well, I had, when I was doing signs of suit anyway, things like that in the school, I mean, we just call and get the verbal permission, because I know that, access sometimes is an issue. Anyway, it was just a thought.
No, absolutely, yeah.
To try to accommodate concerns from the community, but also acknowledging and respecting the choice of a classroom teacher. I just thought that may help. So that was my only.
And based on our previous discussion, my thought at the time and remains today is having it as an opt-out rather than as an opt-in is preferential for me. If people don't want their child doing it, we have ways to do it, and just putting that extra responsibility of filling out this paperwork every year just seems like, we already have ways to say no if you want to say no.
I'm just thinking this came, well, it's okay. We're not voting on it, so it doesn't matter.
Tonight,
It doesn't
I
matter
thought we were
tonight.
voting on, I know I missed last meeting, but there was no discussion on it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in the defense of, the selection, and of course, we're looking at all the grades, but the 8th grade list, the middle school lists are very short. And, what the state provides, they're providing recommendations from 1800s, clearly they're not gonna pick a book off the list from CDE. It's pretty, there's some classics that have been around for some years, and that's really sad that that's not a priority for them. So I can see why teachers are picking more relevant. But I also, and aside from that, over half of them are rated for older kids. And particularly the one that was 4th that people were, raced about. It's a very simply read, it's kind of like reading your older sister's diary. So it's not of a level, it's a level that anyone can read, but I don't know if they were reading every chapter. And what I worry about is this is the list that we're approving, and I just don't I can't 100% bless something that's half above their level of emotional processing. So I worry about this is the list, and we have a brand new teacher that's going to take a book off here and start reading it, and won't deliver it as amazing that a current teacher is reading, because that's their jam. I can talk about hot ticket items, and these are 5 ACEs triggering events in this one book, and I just don't think that every teacher can do that. And so that's the part I was just we have to pause and figure out if there's an option out, or the level reading. I love this list because it's showing the ability of a child, and then plus going on and showing, because it's mostly saying that that's not the age group for half the books. So I just, and just having that, team building, nutrition, life balance, healthy living, those are topics, those are things like mystery, more diverse, instead of having ACEs, topics and books. I know a lot of it's historical fiction, just having it more, relevant for kids. It's such a relevant book. There's 2 chapters in there that just don't need to be in there for this level, group. And so I just worry about the trauma that it can trigger in a classroom setting, because you're probably not going to get, it's a book club thing. And I just worry about every teacher with every, and every student can handle that. So that's where I just struggle with that list. So. but no help from the state.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So maybe I'll have to public comment on their 2-day meetings.
Any other information anybody would like to make sure comes back next month? Because I know that the departments are, I think there were some new things that we're gonna try to get added so that they could be ready to be read.
I believe they're on the list that the ones that I'm aware of.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I think we wanna try to really make action next month. So is there anything else that the board would like presented or questions answered for the official?
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you. I don't want to make more work for the teacher. I mean, like, the teacher is probably doing an amazing job this year, but like, if we do get a new teacher and they, this is the list, I think, I know Wonder was a book that used to be at middle school. It's not there anymore. I mean, there are some really good, level reading, content variety, engaging, but I just worry about the delivery for every student and every teacher with what we have here. And I don't want to have all these forms. I kind of like Jess Green. She had I don't know if you want to do this either, having being diplomatic, like Google Forms, and let's as a class decide what book we want to read, so that there's more buy-in as well. I don't know. I don't want to make more work, but I also feel bad for a third of a kid, or look at that pocket. Everyone should be reading and engaging. It shouldn't be like, a fight at home. I've heard families like, we don't want to be the family that says that we don't want to talk about that. And then we're going to get bullied because we're not, like your mom won't let you read the book because it's got, hot topics. I worry about that kid, or that, I don't know how many there are. I mean, it should be a book that everyone wants to read, that grandma was going to read with us. We're going to go on a road trip and we're going to put it on our, audiobooks. I mean, it's probably going to make us cringe a little bit. So that's just my list.
I started to listen to it and it
It's
makes
heavy.
me cringe.
It's a lot. It's
a lot.
Unfortunately, the data says that by 8th grade, you have already had 3 situations in your childhood that's considered, an adverse childhood experience. So I would probably, it would be rough to.
And my question to Joe, when the parent came, or I think he actually cornered me in the bank first, but it was when I started with it's the worry of and we have to trust our educators. But I think your point about a new person, I mean, some people are really good at, tackling.
Navigating that.
And some people aren't. And so that's not to regulate, but that's my concern about just opening that up for a younger population. They know more about some of those topics than we do. And I'm not trying to put my head in the sand that they're not talking about it. They don't find it on the internet. They don't, are not dealing with it at home, but it's I worry about it in a whole classroom situation. But anyway, I think my two questions have.
That's just my comments where I was like, maybe I'm the one out and I can't, this is something that I can say, yes, the district, these are our books. This is what we're all reading and we're engaging. And I want it to be 100% engagement. It's not just you can't, because kids aren't reading. Kids are not reading novels.
And I'll be interested to see if that's what they want to come to present, because I have heard from this that the students are really engaged. So I don't know how we get that student piece. We asked the student, but I think you have to have a cross section of students. You've got to get every walk of life, not just the kids that love to read, because they're usually mature and can handle topics versus somebody that's had childhood traumatic experience. And anyway, I'm going around in circles and it's 8:00, so we're tabling this anyway. So, but as long as everybody has what they need for us to move forward next month, that's what I want to make sure. Yes.
Well, I don't, but that's I'm only one person, so that's fine.
Well, what?
Well, because I
asked
couldn't like today, if it was gonna get voted on, I would have to say I can't.
Well, and I also, to me, it's kind of separate too about the procedure and then the list. And I know so I was kind of thinking if it was still kind of iffy amongst the board members, if we approved the process.
Right.
And then still don't, unfortunately, with the list, but it sounds like
there's a lot of good books out there, but that's not our work to decide what's on the list, but I can just say like, that's not the list.
And I feel it would be nice to have some more feedback from the staff. And so I'm glad they're wanting to come.
Well, and I'll just say this, I mean, it's not up to us to decide what's on the list, but it's our decision to approve it. And I'd like to have books that are not on the cusp of age group. Like this is clearly 9-12.
Yeah.
Half the books are for older kids. And so that's where it's like, there are so many other books out there that are valuable, that'll do well. And you can add articles of the other things, like you want to get into health, or you want to have that in your, like somehow give your spiel, because that's like your jam. But I just have a hard time with the books being on that they're wobblers. I mean, it's not, I should say, they're not a wobbler. Most of them say 9-12, and these are 9 and 12-year-olds, because just like driver's license, we don't give you a driver's license when you're almost 16, like it's 16. So that's just where I'm at. But I'm only one person, and it doesn't affect it. If everyone else is cool with it, I mean, obviously I'm one vote.
All right, so we are tabling 10.8 till June 11th. Okay, 10.9, board bylaws, 9250, remuneration, reimbursement, and other benefits.
So if you remember last month, this is the one I asked that we pull off, just because it didn't make clear what was lined out, and I didn't want this to in the full light of transparency, not to see that the board was approving something that was providing additional benefit for them when they're seeking without adequate discussion.
Thank you.
So we have always, we've debated it quite a bit in a couple of meetings, and we came to the conclusion before, when it was just a measly $252. Last year in legislation, or maybe the year before they upped it, maybe it was this last summer, $1,200 more than a city council member, which is way more hours meetings. So I'm totally fine with saying, especially with this budget year, we don't have that kind of money. That this is for goodwill, that we're here, and that we are able to purchase this medical just the same as an employee. And that's our only benefit. So we have a lot of hours that is for goodwill. Thank you for being transparent for us.
Looking out for us, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Public comment? All right, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Move to approve board bylaw 9250, remuneration, reimbursement, and other benefits.
I second.
Thank you. Further discussion? And a roll call, please.
Trustee Statham?
Aye.
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And Trustee Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. All right, 10:10. I feel like balloons or fireworks or something. This has been such a long coming to the table. Yep. But here is our equity policy.
Did we see everything?
Move the table to no.
But I do just want to say that, it will be hopefully a living document, and then we do revisit it during our workshops. We do, it'll start showing up on agenda items with our, more and more, and we'll continue to fine tune it as we move along. So any questions or concerns?
So it's on on page 2, the top, I guess that really should just be like one paragraph, not 2 bullets. But at the end, at one point we did want to be more specific. So maybe I can't remember if we ferreted this out or just decided to keep it any particular group of students. But I have a red line of English learners and social economically disadvantaged. So I don't know.
On page 2, second bullet down?
Yeah,
The
so
focus
that
on that?
actually should be a paragraph. So it's like the board shall, and it says bullet, but I mean, it was at one time a paragraph, so it could maybe stay that way. But at the end, that second bullet, so instead of having any particular group,
Right.
we put in
Specifically.
Yeah, so I don't know what, if anyone recalls, if we wanted to put in specific or just leave it any particular group.
The nice thing about any particular group is then we don't exclude other groups that we decide that we don't want to have biases against later.
Because then it's all, like the whole equity was about if we get the pot of, the smaller group that we're really trying to elevate, then it's gonna help everyone. So to me, it just like, it almost is against everything we've been doing for 3 years. But,
We changed it somewhere else, so can we use the same?
yeah. And we could change the next time around. We can give it a feel, because this has been crafted for 3 years. 2.5, I don't know, it feels like, I think it's 3 years. No one has any.
No, I remember that discussion. I'm looking for where we changed it. Oh, and see, Gary's, that thing's supposed to come out of there too, so I don't think those things got changed. I'm not gonna look at this though. But it is our. It is a starting place.
Mhm. Some of the changes are in there, like we changed 5 diverse and culturally proficient staff.
Yeah, and see, these are sample
Qualified.
data, yes.
Qualified.
I didn't catch those at the end. Because there's some surveys and stuff down here at the end that we don't have in our district. But, do we want to just start with it and?
Yeah, I think so, because no one's really feeling like it's a disadvantage to not have it spelled out specific.
Okay. So right, we can bring it back whenever.
Well, especially because next year we'll have boardwalks and whatnot. We can just have that with all of our other levels and see if it needs to be adapted, because we did
Well, we're
at
gonna
one
make sure we
point
put
want
it
to talk
right
about
down.
timeline framework to like push those out,
Yeah.
equity walks.
So I
But we
think
don't
as
really
we-
have that, so I think we have to go through a full cycle.
I think as we get a little closer on our data piece to
Mhm.
updating this
But I'll
sample
keep my
data.
red lines so we can talk about it next time.
Okay, and all these things we've got to get on.
Because the base of it, the meat of it is here.
Mhm.
Just now we're just kind of like tweaking the words, getting a little bit too granular maybe.
Okay. So if we are okay with approving it as it is to be revised in the future, as we get better at this,
Well, I move to approve the board policy amendment as presented.
thank you.
A second?
Any further discussion and or public comment?
No.
Okay, roll call please.
Trustee Babcock,
Yes.
trustee Austin,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Yes.
and trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Motion
Right, you motion second, right? I did that. I feel like I have brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
10.11, the Thomas S. Mitchell and Lonnie M. Mitchell Revocable Trust of 2007 note.
Okay, so every once in a while in the work, I go, wow, this is a whole new thing. And so this is one of those cases. This trust has been left to the district with the intention that 80%, I believe, goes to support scholarship, and 20% could be for scholarships or whatever other determination that the board has. The trust operating as an endowment, basically, and so it would be the income generated off of the trust. This trust has an outstanding note that was written about 17 years ago, I think, at this point. The note has not been filled. The lawyers have reached out to me to see if the district has any interest in pursuing this. Give you an idea, currently the trust is valued at almost $600,000. I think the outstanding note to that would be an additional about $89,000. I've checked with a couple of different, the person who the note, who owes the note has no real assets that will be of any real value. So sell it off to a debt collection company for $1,000, but I'm not sure that that's really worth, I don't know that I would recommend that necessarily in this situation. It'll also further hold up the ability of this to go into full trust and, or into full endowment, really actually reaching its intended purpose of supporting our students. So at this point, I'd be asking the board to approve not pursuing that note and provide that on to the trust, and then they'll get moving with the paperwork, and then we can turn around and the next time this would come before you would be to accept the trust, which is per our policy. Next time.
And so would the lawyer manage the endowment scholarship, or is it the DO?
So it would actually come to us. We have a couple.
I've done that before, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple of others that have been done that way. It would go into in with our other funds and would generate the same interest, like our county stuff that we reviewed earlier. So.
Will be put into, we have a few of the scholarship funds that are in actual separate funds from 01 fund, which is general. So we have a few, like the Stagners.
There's one I gave you guys.
Yeah. And one ending, and then the Bolden or Johnson. Anyway, so we have separate funds. So all the funds that go in there accrue their interest every quarter, and it's all separate. It doesn't have anything to do with any of the other fundings or expenses. I mean, strictly the only expenses are giving the students their scholarships. I mean, that's it. That's all it is. And then incoming is the interest. And then the rule, like, depending on what the trust says, is keeping the balance at a certain level. And then the interest is what gives the scholarships each year.
So Arliss and I were talking earlier today, and very conservatively, this would be about $18,000 a year at least.
Nice.
Scholarships.
You'll do like a 4-year. So back to the debt, that person that owes the note, they don't have any real estate or anything?
They
Is that-
filed the bankruptcy already. I mean,
Yeah, 'cause it-
didn't
yeah.
sound like there was.
Because I couldn't remember that part, because then usually you can
Do a lien.
yeah, it's just waiting for them to, if they ever have to do like a refi or whatever, but they don't need to have
I think the person had to sell
everything. Yeah, so
literally
that's,
everything they
part of
had,
the
and then
there really is no
declare
point
bankruptcy
in
kind of
holding up
after that.
the rest of the trust.
I'd be happy to make a motion to, or give direction or whatever, whichever it's gonna go to consider the note uncollectible or unenforceable and to move on with collecting the rest of the trust. However the motion needs to be worded.
I'll figure out.
Thank you.
The actual trust will come before you once we get more paperwork on that, but once we get past this step, then we can accept, you can choose to accept the trust.
So the motion on the floor is to not pursue the debt.
Considered bad debt. Unrecoverable. I will second.
Any public comment or further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Trustee Statham?
Aye.
Trustee Bailey?
Yes.
And Trustee Dunlap?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Can we have like a letter that goes out to the person to let them know you've been released from your debt and you can move on with your life?
And if you ever come into some money, you can donate to Fort Bragg Unified.
Yeah, exactly.
You take that. Okay, 10.12, Resolution 2613, closing the California Student Achievement Gap.
So this was as a result of a conversation. This came from CSBA as a recommendation to support. basically calling for the state to really focus on supporting our local schools and closing the achievement gap, coming up with, I don't know if you've also seen recently, there was a report released this week from Stanford. It really talks about how the state has lacked coherence in supporting our local districts, and they hold us highly accountable for things, but there's not a lot of accountability flowing back to them. So it's kind of in the vein of those pieces of things that realistically we are we need some additional direction and support from the state, not just simply compliance around this. And really, there are some systems that they're putting in place, but they're not broad enough, and they're not really providing the funding that's needed at the student level, in my opinion, in a way that is going to have the impact it needs to have. So.
And this was highly talked about at lunch action, so I missed April, and it was actually a really, we didn't have one call, there was some sort of miscommunication, but we had, of course, all of our associate workers helping, but this one, they're definitely pushing for it, and it is focusing on not quite the Mississippi Miracle that we talked about before model, but more about customer service from the state and like going in and having intervention, and like, if this is the best practice, like they're going to be in it too. Like, you know, it's all about the dashboard and the test scores. Like they're going to come in and infuse some best practices and be more involved, you know, with achievement gap and supporting educators. So it's a good, you know, we came in the beginning of time, it was full and fair funding. Now it's the SOS. So I hope it has more bite than the full and fair funding that's never happened in the last 10 years. So definitely was a positive ledge action, and this was a big part of it.
So I just want to thank Trustee Schneider and Trustee Kimberly for pushing this. Okay, any other? Well, I think another thing for us being isolated, it's hard, we can't be more involved with political things, but getting over the hill is a challenge, and we need more retired people on the board. But then they're busier than they were before they retired, right? That's what I hear. Okay.
Plan those phone calls.
All right. Any questions, any concerns? If not, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the closing the California Student Achievement Gap, Resolution 2613.
I will second that.
Great. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Trustee Austin.
Yes.
Trustee Paoli. Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
And Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, so that was only half an hour, Joe. Okay, information and discussion. This may be a little bit longer, but we have our 11.1, our local control and accountability plan for 26-27.
I think for the LCAP, as we were looking over the data, over some of the comments, the supports, there's not a significantly different messaging necessarily that's come out of this from previous years. So there'll be some tweaks that we make with some of the feedback that we've gotten from folks, but not any hugely significant changes in this year of the plan. It is year 3 of 3 in that plan. We do have a document that's attached to the agenda that literally synthesizes the feedback that we've gotten, some of the data presentations that you've seen as the board, all of those pieces kind of brought in into one to kind of see just that framework for how I'll use this document to help guide the work that I'm doing and updating some things within. Most of the changes in the LCAP this year will really be around just updating some of the language. There's some programs that are mentioned that we don't use anymore. While they say we'll have more LCFF funding, we'll see what the legislature actually comes around to. If that changes significantly and we can add additional programs, we can do so. Like the LCAP can always be brought back around. It just has to be minimally completed by the June 30th deadline. Some of the themes that we saw were definitely increasing our support for our multilingual learners and bilingual support, and also our special education students. I know that's been a focus of the board, been a focus of our administration and our teachers. So I think we're in alignment there. So I'll look for ways that we can maybe call that out a little bit more within the structure there. Looking for additional opportunities for student engagement, relevance, enrichment. Those pieces, again, I know all of our staff are aligned and supporting that. And as we heard tonight, one of the great things that happen, we have that engagement that happens off campus as well. We have, of course, school culture, belonging, and relationships. That's the everyday work that we do at all our sites. Definitely gets students fired up and motivated for coming to school and really helping them feel connected here. Looking for, did get some feedback about like transportation, but particularly talking about sports, transportation that way. So we're definitely looking at some opportunities if there's a way that we can inexpensively acquire another diesel bus that's not going to cost us a mint to keep up and that sort of thing. That would definitely having one more in the rotation just in case we have a situation like they did with the 8th grade field trip that had to be canceled at the last minute, rescheduled.
The real world.
The real world stuff that happens, you know, because
It's the bus.
you know, you go and start something up and it just isn't functioning properly that morning. Also looking at some opportunities like resurfacing the blacktops at both Redwood and the middle school both desperately need those. Then again, also looking for additional opportunities for family and communication, parent education. So really thinking of ways that we can do that. I know one of the things I was talking with our TK and K teachers about yesterday was the idea of what are some core concepts that we can put out to parents in ways that are maybe videos or little bites that we get our parents thinking about how they can prepare their student to come in and be a student in the classroom as opposed to them just arriving in school and having never maybe experienced that type of environment before and the challenges that can create. So talking about things like, wait, what does that mean? How does something as simple as responding to your name? Because a lot of parents might use pet names for the kiddo at home and not, actually Joe. Who's Joe? That kind of thing. So just some of those little kinds of things that will help them feel more welcomed and supported in the classroom. So I'm going to try to get some of those pieces out and kind of have them flowing through the summer so parents are receiving that information and saying, hey, this week maybe you could work on this skill with your kiddo and, here's some.
Maybe not sit with your phone, right? I heard a really good analogy with, it was saying like social media is like junk food. And if you a lot of it, you can't take in a lot of it because there's no nutrition to it. So like you have to take it in small, bites.
And strangely enough, the media that we talked about sharing with parents was like going and finding Mr. Rogers explaining some of these things because they haven't really changed much since Mr. Rogers explained them really, really well. So we thought that's pretty straightforward. It comes multilingual support, all of that kind of thing. So I kind of like that because the parents can watch those with their kiddos and their short, very appropriate segments that sort of work.
To listen to Ms. Green talk about the phone.
That's alarming.
Fifth grade, I had
kids didn't get it until
I had a foster daughter and her door was always open at night and her phone would buzz and I could watch her move. Like if I was going in or out of our room, like it never, and so with the boys had to put their phones in our room. Like they couldn't because I wanted them to sleep and just to think that,
That's how
anyway, my kids hated me, but
Just how many
They get
parents
used to
don't
it.
know how to use the parental controls on their phone. My
Yeah.
kids all have downtime.
Shut
Their phones shut off at a certain point.
right.
And
You're a
it's
tech
like,
person.
I'm a tech person,
You should
exactly,
teach
I
us.
know, I could.
But when the boys were in middle school, somebody came to the school and gave the talk to the kids and gave the
Yes.
talk to the parents,
Yes.
and I don't know who that person was.
Social media.
But
I remember the
it
guy,
was a-
I'll think of it. I remember.
It was a great,
He's still doing that.
I'm sure he is,
Still doing his thing.
but it's crazy to think at fifth, Taylor was in high school when she lived with us, but just
And a pager in high school.
5th grade and
Wow.
I'm worried about TikTok.
We used pigeons.
Ah.
We only had car phones back in those.
The bag,
Yeah,
we're,
I didn't have any of that.
anyway, side note about technology, what the teachers and everybody's competing with, but whew,
Yeah, that's why they're coming to school tired and cranky. If they're 3 in the morning, my gosh, they don't even have TikTok. It's crazy.
So some pieces that I know that we're working towards, we, for a long time, been trying to support Avid. We're really getting, I think we've got a huge contingency going to support Avid across the district, pretty much 312. And then we'll work with Redwood as is appropriate to kind of expand some of those pieces as well. But I'm excited to have those be very consistent for our students. Those expectations, the language, many of these are things that teachers have already been doing in classrooms and the schools have been doing, but it's just nice to have some of that same vocabulary that's consistent, site to site to site. And then also looking at opportunities to kind of expand beyond just formal Avid enrollment, like our secondary, and like those are some school-wide expectations. So I know that's something that the administrators and leadership teams are looking at there. Continuing, I mean, I think we're a shining example of dual enrollment college access. I was at an event at the college just today, and they were saying how much they appreciate our students coming in enrolling and how it's really keeping the summer really energized with a lot of the kiddos that are taking courses there over the summer. Our CTE programs, you know, we have some really diverse programs that are doing some great things for kiddos. We're looking at some ways to add a little bit more exploratory stuff at the middle school through the Magnolia project that I talked with you a little bit about last time. And then really expanding out our big picture learning has been doing a great job. They're, as I told you, with the travel that's coming up, they're being recognized. They're bringing kiddos into leadership roles and really expanding that. And then as we've been talking a lot, using data monitoring, you know, really kind of diving in a little bit more and looking deeply at that. Under goal 2, again, we talk a lot about our intervention opportunities, continuing our high school academic support, multilingual support, learner supports was really we're going to have the opportunity with a new person's who's not identified yet, stepping into the EL coordinator position and really looking at ways that we can use that role to really have more impact in supporting teachers to make sure that there's good quality support there and that the teachers have a partner they can kind of come together with to connect a little bit and take a little bit of that load off of teachers for research and all the things that have to happen, because that's always that thing of that I use for the universal design for learning is like if you're laying out a different meal for every kid in the classroom, that's exhausting. Whereas if you lay out a buffet and they have the opportunity to come select for themselves and they get those opportunities. So really building that through our EL program as well as our special education program. And then continuing to support our students with disabilities, you know, with our inclusive programs, with also having as much as we possibly can, having them in the least restrictive environment and providing opportunities for planning that way. Professional development, really still keeping that focus in, multilingual learner support, also our math instructional strategies. We know that those are pieces that we're just going to continue to develop. We're really solidifying. I'll get our final list of teachers who are going to pilot our math program next year. Got our entire 4th grade level has signed on. You know, there's at least a teacher in every grade level. We'll be running that math pilot from start of school till about mid-year. If teachers want to continue with it at that point, if they're like, yes, this is the program, we'll continue with that. If not, we'll pilot the second program. We're starting with the one that kind of had the sort of really landslide of support in all the staff who looked at that going into it, and that'll be the program K-8 and possibly K all the way through algebra. So it'd be really nice that we have some continuity all the way through the system that way. And I'm excited about that because again, then our teachers can collaborate and come together about how to use the curriculum materials across those grade levels as well. But I think also that the program that we're looking at will be echoed through other districts will also adopt this. And so we can have teachers have some collaboration across districts, so, third grade teacher can call a third grade teacher in another district and say, hey, how are you working with this concept and the way it's presented? I don't like that, or it's, like having issues or having a lot of success with this particular thing and being able to highlight some of those really cool things that come up. LCAP still maintains really focusing in on our library support, really continuing. Fortunately, there is no contribution from our LCFF funding for expanded learning, but as you heard, it's got quite the impact there as well. And then looking at other opportunities for enrichment for our students. And then finally, our big goal, our third big goal here, improving school culture. I think we've talked a lot about that with our community schools, so really just continuing that integration support, continuing support for restorative practices. We met with the professional development committee. That was one of the things that we talked about, but also making sure that the folks that come in to provide training, provide support that's really more like the presenter we had last year really focused a lot on like stuff that was more middle high school, and so making sure that's also relevant at an elementary level since the other half of our district there. Looking at having Wayfinder as an SEL curriculum pretty much throughout the district. We've already got it at Dana Gray through. We just didn't have it necessarily at Redwood. I looked at the pricing, it literally costs us less to do it district-wide than it is right now with the piecemeal at the schools. So even if Redwood still continues to use Second Step and uses Wayfinder just to supplement, that's okay. Then it can also be used in our after-school program, who's asking about SEL supports. So they get the same messaging across the district as well there. So, and then the work that we've been doing with our equity work, that we get to hear more student voice, that really does help improve our culture and improve knowing how to build out the systems that we need to. And our athletics are, continuing the support that's there. We hear how many of our students participate in our athletics and clubs and things like that. It's pretty amazing throughout. And then I know goal 4, I need to work with Gary a little closer. We want to change a little bit of maybe some of the metrics on that to just really reflect what we're seeing. So we're looking at some different things that we can do. We talked about the idea of working with students around just using some of the laws that are in place. So things like at the continuation school, students technically only have to attend 180 minutes a day. So seeing if we can change some of those requirements in our system, not necessarily telling the students, like still expecting them to show up for a full day, but they get a full day's credit. 180 minutes kind of thing, where, so it works out on the back end just fine, but making sure that they have that type of support there. So again, no real surprises in this. This is all stuff that we've been incrementally talking about throughout the year. If there are any questions or feedback from the board, I'd be happy to hear that.
Making notes. So up and coming for the full, next year y'all, there's not much more to document except of the budget. So there's not like the new monies that will come in, you won't even address that in here.
Not necessarily. The only thing that right now that's required to be addressed in here is the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant funds that have been, so that's the only additional besides LCFF that has to be documented here, which we already did have that documented from last year, so we'll be continuing some of those pieces. We pay for like Thrive counseling and some of the other pieces. So,
Is there any scuttle that the plan or the format or anything will be revamped for the news cycle?
guarantee you it will, because
Okay, how much? I guess a
I
lot.
really, I haven't heard necessarily, but there'll be a new governor, so there'll be new emphasis that probably comes with some of that. So I'm betting I'll find out about February or so next year, because that's about how long it takes me to get these things going. But we'll continue to figure out, keep pulling our feedback and going through our data processes, and I think we'll be well set to figure out whatever format they put in front of us. We'll make it work with the plans and the priorities that we have identified as a district.
We did get some feedback from our data workshop that at least that we might change because of the equity work and the data we're looking at it. Maybe some of that work's been done for us.
I hope so. But yeah, we'll continue with the idea of focusing in on our multilingual learners and our students with disabilities will help all students, raise all tides, a rising tide raises all boats kind of thing. Because we know those are our students who are currently the furthest from opportunity based off of just the data that we've seen. So developing that, I've talked with a lot of our leaders since that, and they've talked about, man, that was really tough, but it was really good. It's forcing us to really dive in and take a look at what's structures and those kind of pieces. So it's got a lot of positive feedback.
Maybe those are our terms, multilingual learners and students with disabilities. And our equity.
Oh, and then, yes.
It's our focus. Yeah.
So, and again, I know that in focusing on those students, that's where every student will benefit based off of, high quality supports and instruction for those students.
And adapting to what will elevate students in those areas.
Any questions on the board? Public comment?
I would just underscore, am I allowed to go?
You are, you just have
I have
to.
to go.
You do.
I don't want to. I'm kind of sick, so. Just to underscore the phone issue and like Jess said, and then you're saying like, it's pretty huge and I'm glad we have the pouches, but I think that's a really important thing with the community outreach and like having a tech person, because parents just have no idea. Some parents have no idea, and I do feel like we're a really good place to tell parents like wait till 8th grade, because the kid's attention span is 0. And I think, I'm sure someone smarter than me has done studies on the addiction of phones, and like the psychologist tells us and stuff. So just
The research is there.
it's the research is there, and like it changes their brain,
Yeah.
and like it's pretty bad. Definitely adds to behavior and it adds to people being identified with disabilities that don't have disabilities, because it's like so addictive. So I think the Wait Till 8 program that the state has would be good for us to like get
That
out.
was just my rule. I didn't know it was a state rule.
No, that's, or I don't know if it's state, but it's like up around.
That's a
Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to underscore that because that's a really important point. And thanks.
Yeah, I like that, going on with that, where we could, as, we always want to hand out our handbook. We can also like put like how much sugar is in a soda, like we could have a picture of a clear cup,
Yeah,
and then
but
we could say,
I've seen those where it's like, here's how many donuts are in a soda, and I'm like, that means I can eat a lot more donuts. It's like, it's what I took away from
but
that,
then,
you know?
but then to know like, okay, that is social media. That is social media, and you can only do small doses because it's not good for you.
Yeah.
And like just having that like visual and that kind of, because that time that you see it in whatever presentation, like the soda top, where you're cutting that. And if you don't cut it, you're gonna hurt, sea animal. Like every time you see one of those, you think of that. So I just think that it might be we might have to.
And those
handbook
kids that
and
went
soda.
to the Woodlands could actually maybe do a little
Yes.
TikTok, but not TikTok, whatever the school platform
They
is.
could do a Google.
But talk about what that
Yes.
3 days was without a phone. I mean, that they're gonna listen way more to their peers than,
For sure.
governor, whoever, about don't use the phone till you're eighth grade. But if the kids say how much well they slept the third night and how, I mean, I know it sounds silly, but
Powerful.
it's super
That's like
powerful.
my best vacations are when I don't have to sleep. I'm out.
But again, you tell your kids that, they're not gonna listen to that. It's gotta come from their
Yeah,
peers
totally.
and, anyway, I think,
I like
when you're talking about these things, I think what's great is that, like Martha said, we're doing great things here. So when we start looking at things like how can we really make an impact on, getting information out, you're talking about specific things, I think to me, that makes me feel like when you're not trying to like get kids food and we've been feeding kids for years and, getting them to school, like we're getting down into the nitty gritty about really taking care of kids as a whole human. And I think that makes me want to sign up for another, even though I'm not up for election, but I'm still in the middle of my thing. But if I was doing it, I will. It's good stuff.
And get more of those senior volunteers.
I'll be an empty nester soon, so I'll be volunteering.
So from a technology point of view, for us, when our kid got a phone, always had less to do with, what they were doing on the phone. We limit to age appropriateness, but it was more about, are they involved with activities where they're alone and we need to be able to track them and find them and get them back. And so,
And get a ride.
And get a ride and stuff like that. So yeah, my kids had phones before 8th grade because they were in dance and soccer and all kinds of stuff where I wanted them to be able to get a hold of me. And it's great because when you can't find your kid, they took that cell phone with them. You can find the cell phone, so that's really helpful. But you have to be able to set it up appropriately. And I think that's where the district can really shine, of being able to, just letting parents know, hey, there are parental controls, there are options so that, yeah, there you go. Because, it's like, not having, you don't have to have the social media items installed on the phone. You can limit down what the phone has, or just limiting, number of hours that you can play games versus,
At 10 o'clock, it shuts off, period.
Well, on ours, we don't shut ours off completely at 10 o'clock, but we limit to all but certain apps. So it's one of those like the music app, Spotify and Pandora and things like that. You can listen to music at night. That's okay, but you can't, get onto your socials or anything.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Things that are appropriate for when you're trying to go to sleep. All right,
Good stuff.
off my soapbox.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Anything come in? Okay. All right, 11.2, our Dana Gray mural proposal. So we did hear from Ms. Green, and then we have information here. Are there any, and my understanding is we can't move this to action.
Right. Yeah. It's a Brown Act.
Yeah. I just wanted to
And this
for
is in
public.
keeping with how we've done with any other pieces like this as well.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful mural. And if for any reason we have any need for a special board meeting, I will recommend that this goes on.
Right, I was thinking that,
If there's,
We could give direction.
I can't.
But yeah, we can't really even give direction.
Yeah.
Because I know it's a total Brown Act, because you have to give the public opportunity to know that you'd be taking an action, and that clearly states that it's not an action item, so people would think, oh, it'll be next month, so you don't want to lose that. And I'm looking at we do have I know there was a policy about anything that we're, like when we had signage for a memorial, it had to be approved, but
I wonder if
this
you could
doesn't
get
have
away
any
with it by putting it on, I shouldn't be saying this out loud, but if you put it on plywood and then the gift comes later, right? So if it goes on a thing that's not on a wall and the kids paint it between now and June, and then the gift is approved, or we accept the gift in
if
June,
we say you can actually put it onto the
the
wall.
building.
That is
It should be
true.
mounted to the building until it's approved.
That is true, that we may
Because
say,
we're
no,
not
you can't.
approving money, right? It was
And we're
paid
not
for by,
approving, and the policy says a
There's a
public
tiny bit of
hearing.
cost, but it's nothing.
Yeah, the
I'll buy the gallon of primer.
the policy says that it would be a public hearing if it was a name, like we're actually naming
Well, that's the
March
next thing.
Memorial, and there's no name on it, it's all art.
Yeah.
right? Because if
They could
it
bring
was
art
done,
to us.
see, I don't like to be told no, so that's how I come up with the
Kind of
opportunity.
a gentle, but yeah, we could, but then too.
I don't know, because plywood's expensive.
It is,
I know you
and
have
to
that.
be fair, like how,
Did she say 6 by 12?
Said 8 by 12.
8 by 12.
8 by 12, so that's 2 sheets by 4 sheets.
Well, the other thing too, to be fair, I mean, I don't know how many open walls we have, but like, what if someone else is like, what's the hierarchy? How do we determine like every next month or next year?
She's already
every
brought
month?
hers up though.
Right, I'm just saying, but how do we determine as a board, do we do a certain allotment a year, or like every wall can be, like, how come your art got, advanced, like just having like a hierarchy, like we do 3 a year?
Do you really want to be the one to tell kids they can't put an art?
No, but I'm just saying that we might be getting more of these plywood
There's
art
Oh, I
presentations.
see, if we did
You
it
see what I'm
that
saying?
way,
'Cause
by plywood.
that's why you also wait to say like, hey, I actually had that in mind. So anyone in the district that has an art idea, because we're gonna run out of walls, is what I'm saying.
Well, and
Yeah.
like in the high school,
Give a
they
lot of
took them down, so the kids did there's a bunch of artwork over there.
How many walls do we have, Joe? So we can just let it loose.
Quick,
Okay, perfect.
We've got a lot.
I just want to be
I'm not-
fair to everyone.
Anyway, there's a
Wanna be
suggestion,
fair.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you think that's really getting around, because the gift would be accepted in June, but not.
I mean,
Because then we're gonna do it right on the wall.
if 3 of you have a moment,
Well, I was just saying, yeah, exactly. We can have
special-
a
a
special
special
meeting.
meeting.
Yeah, because that's why I wanted to make sure that we didn't have to have a public hearing. That's a whole, that's.
no, yeah, no, that's.
That's for
and
naming, that's for naming or memorial, and there's no name on that.
Well, just to be clear, our list did point out that his name is on bike in the,
It's not.
It's, yeah,
that's what I told
it's
them.
not
but I
like a
just wanna
plaque,
make
there's
sure
no
you
plaque,
guys-
it can be a plaque, because that would need a public hearing.
No, there's
I
no
don't-
public hearing for this.
This probably, it might not be a fan for some people, but to me, this is kind of a time constraint thing with school getting out, that's why, and
So-
like,
Yeah, so I'd
Putting
be
the
willing to
namesake
show up
thing
for a
is
5-minute board meeting
Sure.
to do this, yeah.
to do this, yes.
Okay.
No objection.
We will try to get something
Okay.
scheduled.
I will be happy to attend if I'm available.
Yeah,
okay.
And just don't put a plaque on it. No plaque. No plaque.
No plaque.
I see, oh, it is on his little,
And
seat. Sandy, is it Sandy?
Okay.
It's a license plate, yeah. Oh,
Alright, so then we should talk about the plaque and for denigrate that on the next one.
That's already been up.
Okay, so 11.2, in order to accommodate the Brown Act and the current 5th grade students, we are going to try to get a special board meeting scheduled. Okay. Thank you. 11.3, Dana Gray namesake honor proposal. So this is a little bit different.
So we've talked about this a little bit, and now we have some specifics. Kind of see what the proposal is within, and we'll try to explain it.
I didn't scroll down to page 2 the first time through, I'm like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
but they didn't really show us what's on the plaque.
Right, so
Oh,
there's
wait,
the plaque
Those are
text.
page 2, okay. That's much
And
better.
again, this will be paid for by the family, so it's really just, cost us a little bit of staff time to mount or whatnot, but I think that would be about the extent of it. And would give a little bit more information about who Dana Gray was. And
Yeah, that's-
why Dana Gray is named Dana Gray. So I read it and I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Context, it's great. I'm all
I
for it.
thought it was actually completely different, so.
Yeah.
Learned something new.
So, yeah, I would
think it's
recommend.
nice to know why things are
Yeah.
named the way they are.
I think honestly, it would be a good practice if we ever named any facility after a person, that we have some kind of explanation as to why, because in a generation
We
that.
actually recommend no names on
Right.
these states.
Yeah.
She never
Or
knows
school
schools
cities,
in her
yeah.
life. But this guy's lived, so far, there's nothing on the internet. Very honorary, and it's pretty cool that the grandson is an artist, and that's pretty, sorry we didn't have anything sooner, but it's really nice to have the family involved honoring.
It was lovely, they reached out to us to
Yeah, that's-
initiate the whole thing and just
Yeah.
ask, and before it ever came to you, they were asking even if it was a possibility, so it was really nice.
It's interesting, that there wasn't really anything, I mean, we don't know anyone to ask if something fell off or that, you know, that there was some sort of, I mean, I don't recall, other than he might be on a signage on the, because he was a trustee as
There might
well.
be a plaque on the ground.
Exactly, there's something with his name on it,
Yes.
and that was it. Yeah, we'll have to go back to archives, that'd be a PRA, Renee.
I don't know if we'll have any responsive records in the offices.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move this forward, right? I don't hear any objection.
I think it's great.
Okay.
I think it's great.
Perfect. Okay, so that'll come back to us. So 12.1, board reports.
I did anything. Did I go to site council this last month or was that the month before? I don't remember now. Time is meaningless.
You went to a couple meetings because I asked you if you're going to Fort Bragg High School site council.
Yes,
You had
okay, so
budget
that
or
was-
safety, so you did something and then
I
you
went to that
the
site council, yes, I attended the site council meeting. I feel so long ago already.
I know. It'll be worse between now and the next meeting.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on.
That's the only thing I have to report.
So I have just a big shout out to all, because I did attend the alt ed mock interview, so it was fun to interview a 12-year-old and a 17-year-old. So as soon as, you know, I had my interviewee sit and I said, no, this will never happen. It shouldn't happen, but how old are you? So I can kind of understand who I'm interviewing. Because, you know, I
Because
say,
legally, I can't ask you that, but.
legally, if they ask you to say no. But today I'm going to ask how old you are because it was clearly not a senior, you know, a 17-year-old. So I had to kind of switch gears because I had a couple 17, you know, older kids, and then here comes the 12-year-old. But very engaging. I think because I've done this for more than a few years, and it really has. The kids are more solid. Yes, it's always a pleasure to go. And I also attended the Denigrate Open House, which was very well attended. And the high school awards, I popped in, but I had another obligation and it was packed. So people definitely want to support their kids. And I just want to really give a shout out for all staff because there's so many pieces like Jess Green. I don't think, you know, when you think of it, you're getting all of that. It was an amazing trip that she had to have had hours to make that successful. And it's a trip that the kids will remember forever. I mean, I remember like when I saw that dining hall, like it brought back that whole process and the whole, I mean, it is an amazing location. And I think that hike I was on, and it felt like it was all uphill, but who knows, like it's probably a bit of erosion since I was there. So maybe it wasn't the same trail, but that's just like one essence of all that staff get motivated and it's like their jam. And so I hope that continues. And it is amazing how many kids have never been to the beach. That was really a vacation, truly a vacation for kids. And so I wish we had unlimited funds to, you know, Minnesota Land Trust. That's amazing that they shared. But that just reminds us that we have outdoor learning, that we can go outside and just for me as an adult, going outside and getting that fresh air, like your brain kind of reworks. So the power of movement and just like breaking your cycle to kind of like rejuvenate you. This is a time of year that's very fun to share, and the joy of the teachers are happy, it's wrapping up and kids are excited and all the graduations coming up. So I want to thank all the staff and everyone's valuable, everyone at every level. Because we can't do it. Those that show up and those, you know, and that's who's the kids are relying on.
I did a lot of things. I attended the Woodland Camp. That was pretty nice. And I see Hispanic is only, I think, one quarter of the attendance. So I think one thing is hard for us as parents is to let our kids go with. We don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think it will help now that it's been done before and people in the community can talk about it and?
Yeah. And I helped at Redwood School with ballet folklorico, with the presentation. And then done an open house at Dana Gray in the high school academia awards. And I don't see a lot of Latinos people getting awards. I think I'm only a couple. And I would like to see disability students get some recognition. I don't see that, and I would like to see. That's it.
I went to awards night. I was trying to think of, we can go through, we can go through and look at the awards, the pamphlet. It was very nice. Not only did the kids that, it was full.
It was
It was packed.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see and hear the teachers talk about the excitement and the hope for these children, and that they're
Cheers.
yes,
And
there's
cheers.
tears and lots of there's some. It's going to be interesting next week to hear about some of these. We have a co-valedictorian and a co-salutatorian, so next week it should be interesting. The scholarship night. And,
Farmers support it?
no, they both got their
Oh,
stuff. So
100%.
speech, it might be a long graduation if nobody monitors the speeches. And I also want to give a shout out to just people that do extra, whether it's the clubs at Dana Gray or I was lucky enough to go with the golf team to NCS, and Ben talks about how much he pays for this stuff by he pays with his own money. And we've done fundraisers and stuff trying to keep that burden off of him. But, I think every person in education, whether you're the guy that was washing the van when I went to deliver muffins this week, he was super cheerful and super pleasant. And, to that guy, to the golf coach, to the principal at whatever school, I just think you do it because you love it. And there's always money that's outlaid, but I don't think enough positive things are said and you only hear the negative stuff. Or maybe, because it takes, what is that saying about you have to hear 3 attaboys before the bad thing goes away.
3 compliments and only
yeah.
two.
So, we've got to do better about just complimenting people and thanking people, because
It's free.
it's kind of a thankless job and it's free. Yeah. So I hope that every day staff feels appreciated and not just on the week that the calendar says so. Okay, I guess that was the last one. All right. Okay, so advanced planning, future board meetings. I wrote down, Joe, I think I'm gonna chat with you about possibly trying to meet. I feel like the board has so many things that we just didn't quite get done. So I don't know if it's weird for us to meet by ourselves without, I don't want to put a burden on you when you're supposed to be off during the summer, or whether we could try to get together. But anyway, I just feel like we've got some things that didn't quite get
I
finished.
don't get a lot of time off. So it's okay.
Well, we'll talk later. I'll maybe at Agenda City. So any other needs from the board?
So I don't know that you got the right direction for we still have to critique ourselves. I mean, here it is.
Right, so I've got the stuff from Lake Tahoe. It is on my to-do, so it will be on the June agenda.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I've got very little, but I have enough. I'm just gonna roll with it, so.
Okay, and then we'll just do a Google,
Yeah.
popped in,
But
or we would do it to the beginning of the year, like maybe we have to revamp when we're doing it, so we start out the year, like.
Well, I think we might have to prioritize because I don't think we really finished the data workshop that we had.
Gotcha.
So we have to
Okay, I
prioritize.
just wanna make sure that you.
But I will get something to you for the June meeting. And I'll bug loose to help me. The evaluation, but I'll get you something before we meet up. Okay. Any other suggestions or things we need to circle back around? Okay. housekeeping reminder, so lots and lots and lots of stuff.
So there's a big list there, so maybe keeping an eye on all of those things that are coming up. I think all of these are probably on the board calendar as well, but just in the next month, there's a lot happening.
And there's 2 band back-to-back night, or that's one
So-
high school? Okay, one
So we're doing middle school and high school. We're
Okay.
splitting them out this year because
Okay.
we really were reaching proportions where it wasn't safe any
Exactly,
longer.
'cause I-
Because
I go, I was like,
so
I'm gonna
many
stand
people
up,
in
'cause-
Cotton,
yeah.
And I didn't want to be like, okay, we gotta shut this down. But, so I went and talked with Mr. Valetsko and he's like, oh yeah, we'll just do 2 nights. I imagine it's probably gonna be pretty packed for 2 nights, but maybe not standing room only, blocking exits, that kind of packed. So.
It's your opportunity to show Mr. Rogers,
Yeah.
social media, like you've got your captive audience. Throw in a free little ad at the
Eighth
beginning.
grade promotion's not at Cotton, correct?
8th grade promotion, no, it's not. It'll be at the the only promotion at Cotton is for Alta.
And they're
I
all
mean, I'm old enough that I promoted from Cotton, but,
same.
but they wouldn't fit in there either, but.
So they're all at 5 o'clock, even all?
Trying
Okay.
to coordinate them all this year.
Okay. That'll be a first. Maybe
Well,
second.
and I think also just feedback from folks is let's get it done so we can get to dinner and do the
Yeah, that's
other
true.
celebrations that come
That's true.
later.
Just the start off of their evening.
Yeah.
And having different start times was a problem.
Yeah.
For some families to keep straight.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, it's like this is just the start of their celebration.
It is.
I want to say they're the following week.
Yeah.
Are we the same night as Ben, or are they on the following?
They're the
week?
following week.
Yeah.
They go one more week after us.
Okay, if there are no other questions or concerns, I will call for adjournment.
So move at 9:10.
Thank you. Did you get that, Renee?
I got it.
Okay. Thank you. Teachers, there's gonna be a lot.